Hello, welcome to Big Conversations, our first edition in 2023. Thank you so very much for joining us. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I pray and hope sincerely that this year will be everything you want it to be. And that's an important prayer because, we always start the year with a lot of optimism, as we should, and aspirations. I start with an apology. My video, my laptop crashed, so I'm recording. We're streaming off my daughter's Chromebook, and I've noticed I'm coming across as dark. I'm not a demon though, and my face is not as frightful as I think it is. So please bear with the dark. I just look a bit darker. I think it may have something to do with what we're streaming live from. So I'm going to be repeating my apologies as we go on. These things happen, but what do you do? We make a lemonade. We make lemonade out of our lemons. Yeah. I didn't want to cancel tonight because we have a lot riding tonight, and we have a show for you. What is Big Conversations? It's a magazine show, a monthly magazine show produced by LCCMedia, ladiescorner.ca, and it's hosted by me, Tee Adeyemo. Yes, that's right, Tee Adeyemo. So we have a show. Boy, do we have a show for you. Right after my intro, we have Damilola Adedeji. She's coming to help us as Black women. She's an expert on kinky hair, on Black hair, and she's coming to show us, to tell us things that we may not necessarily know, things that we need to be reminded of our hair. At the top of the hour, hopefully, we have Tayo and Dotun, a combo, to do our finances. They'll be talking finances, your money. Tax season is is soon, February, March. They'll be here to ginger you up about your taxes, about your money, your life, and so on and so forth. In this show, also, we talk about autism. Do you have an autistic child? Perhaps do you know anyone with an autistic child? So we hope to educate you and enlighten you and bring some more awareness to autism later on in tonight's show. Giselle is at the top of the hour, Giselle General, with tidbits from Edmonton City Council. She tells us everything we need to know about Edmonton. Hopefully soon, maybe from February, we'll have a Calgary update for you, what's going on in Calgary. But at the moment, we have Giselle. Now, from the last time we met you, we have published a new magazine. I don't know if you've seen it. Okay, I don't know if you've seen it. This is our winter edition. We were in Calgary yesterday. To promote this. We were able to give it, it's at the Italian Center in Calgary, amongst other places. And there are some interesting articles you may want to read. And we've also been getting feedback about this edition. You want to see if you can get a hold of our Labor of Love. Is our latest edition. And Miss Damilola Adedeji is here. We bring her in. She's our expert on hair. Hello and welcome to Big Conversations. Thank you so very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Nice meeting you.
Yes. I've already apologized for the quality of my video tonight. It's making me look darker. And as you know, I'm an up and coming human being. I want to look as bright as I can, but the video quality on the Chromebook is not my fault. So for those who do not know you, please tell us a little bit about what you do. I said to our audience before you came on that you are one of our columnists, that you've written severally for our magazine about kinky hair. So please tell us what you do.
Okay. Once again, thanks for having me. I'm Dami Adedeji. I'm the founder of Brown Skin Naturals, and what we do is make natural products for hair, mostly for hair, and just few products for skin, just like Sheber. Of the approach that our black hair is beautiful, black is beautiful, blacks don't crack, and we want the motive behind this product are just making safety is really key, safe natural skin products that would not have any side effects for Africans, even for Caucasians, and for general beauty and well-being. Thank you.
Mm. Well, I hear when you say you make products for black skin. That's Does that include the hair?
Yes, hair products too. Like yes, it includes hair products like shampoos, hair oils, hair butters, for the skin, for the hair, for our kinky hair, or even relaxed hair, for African hair, for even Caucasian. So different products for hair and the skin, but mainly for hair, like hair oils, hair butter that will help prevent hair loss and will ensure good and healthy hair growth for blacks and for everyone generally.
Mhm. How did you get to this journey? How did this story start for you?
Okay, so throwback to around COVID-19, my mom came visiting and she had alopecia, this kind of hair loss on the front of her hair. So she was discouraged to grow her hair because of trying to maintain it and all that. And she's an elderly woman. She's going to her 70s. So we tried to see a dermatologist here, and we tried to see dermatologist. It cost so much money trying to grow her hair back. There was no solution. So I was just like, wow, we there's some other approaches we might use to grow our hair. And that was where brown skin came to play. I had I knew about hair oils, and I just knew that, we can work on getting hair oils, things that will help with hair growth, because of the weather here. Right from time her hair, she has been having issues with her hair, like growing her hair, and she had alopecia. That was the reason we went to the dermatologist. So I I started having interest because I wanted her to go back with full hair, going back to Nigeria, and I tried to use a proactive approach, trying to see what works best for her, trying to look for natural products. So that was when I started researching on like natural products. What natural products do we have? I knew of hair oils, I knew of coconut oil, I knew of almond oil, I knew of avocado oil, I knew of carrot oil, I knew of different oil, but things that would help with hair growth. So that was when I started my research in 2020 during COVID period. I started I started mixing oils. I started practicing, trying to check all oils are appropriate, safe, appropriate, like for black skin, and something that won't give any side effects, because number one, she's an elderly woman, and something that will help her grow her hair natural, things that are natural. So I was able to get a formula, then work, do some trainings on. I enrolled. I enrolled in a training school, a short course where I was able to learn about hair products that will help with hair growth, black hair, African hair, and trying to see what works best for elderly people, for people here. Also, I had a couple of friends. We moved from Calgary to Edmonton. I had a couple of friends that were always complaining in Calgary that, their hairlines were receding, their hair was cutting, that, everyone coming to Canada has really taken off all their hair. That, is it the weather? Is it what's happening? So I also found out about the weather, how it also affects the hair, how winter can make your hair very, it tends to make the hair very, very dry, and it can lead to less moisture and cut your hair. So, I did my research. I did so much research. My mom was my, how do I put it, case study, because all the oils, she was using all the oils, and she was trying to see which one worked. We tried to start measuring. Oh, where is growing? Oh, is this place growing? Is that place growing? And I noticed the medications she was giving were not, nothing was happening. So that was why we moved to the hair products route to see if it would work for her as an elderly woman. So I just saw that after the course, I learned on formulation, I learned on mixing products, especially natural products. I didn't want the products, some products out there, the chemicals too are quite harmful to the hair and scalp. So I safety is really, really a big deal for me. So I started with these products. We started with hair oils, and my mom used it, and we just saw a drastic change. Her hairline started growing, and she was able to start growing her hair back. Her hair has been like that since when I was a teenager, maybe over 15 years ago, So, and I saw that, wow, a hair that hadn't been growing, the front hairline and the back hairline started growing, and it started growing. Everybody was noticing because we took pictures of each milestone, each stage of the process. The week 1 to, I documented all these stages, and I had started growing, and I was just like, wow. So once I learned that once you're consistent and use the right product and you use the right approach, you can grow your hair without, despite any environment you are. If you're in Africa, if you're in Canada, if you're in anywhere you are, you can grow your hair, and your hair can grow very well and healthy. So after like, the first, 4 weeks, her hair grew. Gradually, her hair grew. A back hairline started growing. She was able to start packing her hair, growing her hair. It wasn't bowed. It started growing. And I was just like, wow, this is it. I started with the products, learned more, started, getting the products online, did, more courses, started retailing, and we have a product line of like 10 different products, working for here. They've been beautiful reviews, on good reviews, feedbacks on how these hair products had added value to people that have lost their hair, people that have given hope. This part of the world we are in, everybody's on the rush. You don't have that luxury as it is in back home. And most of the time, the corporate women, every woman, every other woman, corporate sector, in every sector, service industry in this part of the world, we're always on the rush. Is it that we, before going out, we just put on our wigs, we rush out, we just live on wigs, we live on wigs, and it causes hair loss. People are experiencing very huge hair loss with wigs, with different things, with hats, with, silks. So it's been a good one for people realizing that yes, they can grow their hair. Of course, you want to be free. You don't want to keep on wearing wigs, wearing, suits up and down. Despite the environment or the temperature, you want to be free. So it's a kind of eye opener to people on how to take care of their hair, especially for their baby girls, their kids, children, how to take care of black hair, the advantages of our hair, leaving our hair healthy, the beauty of black hair, the beauty of kinky hair, So, and it has really, really added value to the community, um, I am.
Miss Adedeji, I remember COVID so well because I know several people who developed depression. I was sick. I had a breakdown as well. And it wasn't mental. I had ulcer. I was really sick.
Oh.
So I remember COVID as a dark period where I was either sick or getting better from being very sick. But there you are, very brave, very courageous, selfless, helping your mom look beautiful again, going back traditionally and trying to find what sort of oils you can put together,
Mm-hmm.
and then the miracle happened. Our hair started to grow back. And I know every woman can attest to this, that the beauty of a woman is in her hair.
Yes.
And we associate our beauty. Oh, she's got such long hair. She's got such this. So I want to commend you for that, for taking such a very ominous and difficult diagnosis. Or you said since you were 15, your mom's hair had been receding, and for turning for reversing that is immensely
Mm-hmm.
credible. So what is the situation now with your mom? Let's start with that because I have a mom too. Let's start with that. So is her hair, does she have a head full of hair?
Yes, absolutely. She's back home in Nigeria, and she told her friends about it, experiencing the same issue. They contacted me, I sent products back home for her friends in the same like age bracket, You know how grandmas are, they keep on talking, oh, they keep on
How old is your mom?
my mom is she's 67.
And she's not old.
She's not old,
67 is a new 50, you know that. So
Yes,
it's not gonna,
absolutely. So
yes,
you
it's
know how
not.
grandmas, when they go out and they just keep on talking, oh, my hair grew, my daughter has this hair, And apart from that, it's very, very good. The oils are very, very good, healthy. I use it. I was relaxing my hair. I used chemicals relaxing my hair. I didn't have the patience to. I thought natural hair was a whole bunch of stress, trying to pack it because I had very coarse hair. So I needed something to just make my life easy and move and but I just realized it was a big eye opener for me, for my own hair too. I was able to grow my hair. I was able to know how to work with my hair. I was able to advise other like women to work on their daughters' hair, their kids' hair, their nieces, their neighbors' hair. Talk about black hair. Talk about how your hair is important. Talk about approaches, simple steps to take care of the hair, especially in this part of the world we are. So it was a big eye opener for me.
Mr. Dedich, it's important that we lay this foundation because um, when I was growing up, my mom was of the school that every girl should cut their hair low. So my mom didn't generally, she didn't engage us in our hair. It just cut low. And we didn't really go to hairdresser. We went to the barber. The barber came to our house and we were on low cut.
Okay.
So I have to say that I missed that. My mom didn't teach me how to. So obviously, when we got to secondary school I went to, up until what we'll call grade 10 now, our hair was short. And then we now started to weave it. So obviously, when I got out of secondary school, I was tired of the low cuts and I was tired of the weave.
Mhm.
Um, so what I did was braids. So how would you encourage, women? I'm sure there are tons of women like myself with absolutely zero or no relationship to their hair. Like my hair is always in braid, and I've
Mhm.
paid for it because some of my hair removes from
Moves.
I've lost some of my I can't this side because of the pressure the braid puts on
Mhm.
the thin hair there. So that's the first question. How do grown-up women like myself,
Mhm.
before we come to the children, how do we even begin to understand that kinky hair is not angry? Kinky hair requires love, nurture, and you alluded to the fact that we all don't have time. How then do we look after this? And then my second question is, in your mixture when you were working with your mom to cure alopecia, did you find there was carrot oil that was a winner, or avocado oil, or coconut oil? What is the concoction? Or did you take the oil to a preacher and the preacher blessed it? Is that the magic that worked in this instance? So if you're watching, this is Miss Damilola Adedeji. She's an expert on hair. Please, we ask that you subscribe. We don't get paid for our time here, but your subscription is all the love that we need. So thank you so much for watching. We ask that you please share as well. Share with your
Okay.
friends and family as we talk about kinky hair tonight. It's Adedeji.
Okay, so the first question, like looking after for adults, looking after our hair. So the first thing first is, what kind of hair do you have? Do you have the natural hair, like the hair without the relaxer, or do you have the kinky hair? So there are two different types. Either you have that or the one with the kinky hair. So let's start with the one with the relaxer. It's not a bad idea, but we have LDR options. I don't like condemning people that use, of course, do you. It's a free world and you have to do what makes you very comfortable. So with the relaxer, as a grown up in this part of the world, what do you need to do? If you're comfortable relaxing your hair, yes, um, yes, there could be the side effects might be more than the hair without the relaxer, but you just have to maintain it. I know some people that they've been on natural and they just want to because they want to make their lives easy, and I really don't blame people. So the first things first, steaming is very, very key. Ensure you steam your hair. Know your hair type. The porosity, there's a porosity test, and it depends on I'll also, it would be on the magazine. I'll write about the porosity test on the magazine, how you know your hair porosity. There are hair types that are of low porosity, there's high porosity, and there is medium porosity. So know the kind of your hair porosity, so that you know the kind of product to use. Once you know your hair porosity, with low porosity hair, I mean the category of low porosity hair, the low porosity hair doesn't absorb products easily. So things like, if you're on the relaxed part of the hair, you try to ensure you steam regularly. Steaming is either you steam your hair in salons. Typical salons in the south are like Bella 360. There's a salon. Oh, I forgot. Forever 21 in the south. There are nice salons in the north. Fafi here. So if you stay in Edmonton, or if any kind of part of the city where you stay in Canada, it's good to steam your hair. If you can't go to the salon, you could go on Amazon and get a steamer, a hair steamer, where you steam your hair regularly, at least once in a month. Why? Because of winter. Steaming helps, steaming helps with your hair porosity. It helps keep your hair softer. It maintains your hair, and it prevents your hair from breaking due to the temperature. Okay, so apart from steaming, water is very important to the hair. I take my spray bottles everywhere I go. This is my spray bottle. Uh, it's You could get it on Amazon. You could get it in beauty supply store. Your spray bottle is your go-to. Always spray your hair every time. On braids, you can spray your hair. Just to keep it moisturized.
Mr. Dedeji, there's some. Is that your hair? Is all of it your hair?
No, it's not my hair, it's extension. It's extension. It's just like this kinky
Okay.
extension. Yeah,
Huh.
so it's not my hair, it's kinky extension. I just put.
Okay.
Yes. So the spray bottle is very, very important. It's a go-to. You just have it with you put water, you spray it, if you're on relaxed hair or the natural hair. So another thing is using hair oils. Try to use hair oils that um try light hair oils. I ensure my hair oils are very light, and be free to use any brand you feel comfortable with, So try to use hair oils that have natural products, and the hair oils can be used on your scalp. Trying to use hair oils. If you experience dandruff, there are other hair oils you can use, like tea tree, peppermint, to just kind of use it. Do protective hairstyles, just like Miss T. The braids you're on is perfect for this weather. I also love braids. After this hairstyle, I might be on braids. It's a go-to. You just ensure that the tension on the braids are not too tight for your scalp, despite the kind of porosity, that's kind of hair porosity you are currently on. So that is it for adults. Same thing applies to unnatural kinky hair, where we call hair that you don't add relaxer to. So for the kinky hair part, same thing. So there's this method called the LCO, liquid cream oil, and the LOC, liquid oil cream. These are techniques to help with the hair. The liquid is the water, like your spray bottle. The oil is your hair oil, and the cream is maybe your butter, or probably, oops, I'm turning it the or like your conditioner. So those are the methods you use with the kind of products that suits your hair porosity. Your hair porosity, somehow I describe it as probably your shoe size. So you wouldn't you if you use a size 10, for instance, you won't go for a size 8 because it won't suit your shoe size. So your air porosity suits what kind of product you use. So that's the first approach to keep a healthy hair. Edmonton weather is very humid. Maybe because of the mountains, you get things get dry easily, the humidity. So you have to keep your hair moisturized, especially in winter. If you don't do so, you can lose your hair. The hair will cut naturally. So you just have to get your hair moisturized with the LOC method, LOC liquid cream oil, LCO, or LOC liquid oil cream, LCO liquid cream oil. So those are the procedures. Protective styles, it shouldn't be too tight. Then your satin bonnet, sorry, my satin bonnet is your not hair or scouse, satin scouse. So those are things. How do you, when you sleep, what do you do? If you're on braids, what do you put on your hair? Do you leave it like that? Satin bonnet is a real big deal to maintain your hair in this part of the world, and you could, if there are some people don't like putting things on their hair, you could also go for the option of using certain pillows, certain pillowcases. So you can get that on Amazon. You could go to Amazon, type certain pillowcases where you can use while sleeping, so that satin, the difference is that the difference between satin and cotton hair products, or satin pillowcases and bed sheets, wouldn't cause friction, so that the hair wouldn't cut. So we are trying to maintain the hair as much as possible, and we are trying to see what kind of tools, products, techniques we can use to grow the hair. So those are basic things. Once this is done, I'm sure we'll have a healthy and lustrous hair where we can flaunt, and we can, hair is our confidence, right? So, and things, and with this approach, using all these tools and techniques I mentioned earlier, I'm sure we'll be able to grow healthy hairs for ourselves and our children. Then for the second question, to add the oils, there was no miracle anyway. It was not anointing oil. So remember I said I learned the formulation. So for the oils that work for alopecia, they currently are produced in Canada, somewhere in Canada. I work with a lab to give them the formulation to produce it. I saw that on the larger scale, I wouldn't be able to produce different quantity to large quantities. So I had to work with a lab to give me a formula that works perfectly well and would cover all safety precautions and how do I put it, documentations and quality control in quotes is very very key for me. So these oils contain the active ingredient is onion oil. Onion is good for hair growth, and onion oil is part of the active ingredient that helped with my mom's hair growth then. And I was able to create a formula, a working formula with this oil, and ensure that the formulation has a large percentage of onion oil. It wasn't a miracle, but it worked. And this is the formula we are using till today. So they are all like all natural ingredients that are good for the hair and are safe. Safety is very, very key to me. So that was the
Thank you very
that
much.
was a secret ingredient.
The only question I've got there is, I'm sure you work with a lab and all. They've probably done something to the onion oil, so your eyes are not watering when you apply it.
Yes, yes, your eyes are not watering, and some people do not like onions, the smell. I have some clients that they don't like the smell of cooking it, or the smell, or they feel the smell is too strong. So what they do is they use it for their steaming. They wash it off. So once they do their steaming, maybe probably in the salon or at home, they just use it like a pre-poo, like a base in the middle of their hair, and they wash it off. And yes, it works. So, and of course it doesn't cause your eye to be teary, no side effects at all. It's 100% natural. And there are other options apart from the onion oil. There's the sleek edges. There is light hair oil, which is very light and helps with hair growth. But the onion oil is best for other issues like alopecia and all that.
Hmm. Thank you very much for sharing your truth about kinky hair, about how to heal and cure alopecia. It's a very everyone will know alopecia because last year during the Grammys, Will Smith actually punched someone who he felt disrespected,
Yes.
his wife, who is also dealing. Maybe she has not heard of onion oil. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for giving us that foundation. The next question I have is, how do we teach our girls now, how to develop a relationship? I know when my sister is helping her daughter, to fix her hair, the hair is really kinky, as in it's tough, and the daughter will be crying, she'll be frustrated, and we're just trying to comb the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, our hair is, it's hard work. This beauty it comes
Mm-hmm.
with tears as well. So how
Mm-hmm.
do you even my little cousin, that was my sister, yeah, my niece, it's a struggle for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for her because her hair is beautiful, but it's very thick. Her hair
Mm-hmm.
grows well, but it's very thick. And when she's unlocking it from braids, you don't want to be there. So how would we get children like her, for example, to love how God has created them and giving them this luscious, fertile hair?
Mm-hmm. So for kids, is the lighter is a lighter portion. For adults is quite similar to what I described for adults, and for kids we have to be patient with kids. So for obviously they don't use it's safe generally not to use relaxers or texturizers for kids. Yes, the hair could be coarse and be very, very strong. And kids, they get tired easily. They just want something workable for them. And when you're making their hair, you just have to be quick with it, and so that they can play and do so many other things and have fun. They just want to have fun. So you just have to work with how maybe the personality of kids. Do they like having fun? Do they like their tablets while making their hair? What do you need to do? First of all, do the porosity test. Same applicable technique with adults. Do the porosity test. Know the kind of hair your child has. Low porosity, medium porosity, high porosity. The steamer works wonders. I For moms that have kids at home, try to get a steamer. It will give you peace of mind. The steamer, apart from the fact that it helps with moisture, it softens the hair, it tends the hair, it cools the hair down. So if no matter how coarse your kid's hair is, it will cool it down, it will make it soft. So a steamer is a go-to part of the tools needed for kids in the house. Then, yes, kids do protective styles like DD, cornrows, all that. Get a detangler. You know, there are so many detanglers. You could Google it. You could go to Amazon. Detanglers are go through so that when you're losing the kid's hair, you can spray with your spray bottle and detangle with a detangler. Is like a conditioner that helps tame the hair, makes it soft, in quotes, makes it soft. But water is your best friend. A detangler is the best friend, so that when you're trying to do on wash days, it will be easier. The hair will be broken down to smaller pieces, maybe like cornrows, twisting in very smaller, manageable pieces. Whatever kind of coarse, however the hair is coarse, it would be broken down into smaller pieces so that you can manage the hair in stages, small by small. So you get a white tooth comb. You have a white tooth comb somewhere here. You get a white tooth comb and ensure, sorry, 1 minute. You get a white tooth comb and ensure the hair is broken down into smaller pieces where um when you're combing it, it won't pain the child and it will be easier to manage. So the comb tree is also important. You can't just use a small comb thinking that, oh, it should make it smoother. A wild tooth comb is good. It could be, you get it in beauty supplies, so these things will help manage the hair even before you do the protective hairstyles like the DDs, the weavings, the cornrows, and things to avoid with children. Ensure protective styles are not too tight. Ensure wash days are done. I know it's not easy. Everywhere is busy. House chores, ensuring food prep, work life balance. But that time for kids' hair should be within 3 weeks. Normally, it should be 2 weeks, but I can still recommend 3 weeks so far. You use other things like using the LOC, trying to manage it weekly, or especially when you take the child to the salon, you won't want to be going every two weeks. So 3 weeks is very, very fine. And you get the products according to the child's hair porosity. Once this is done, the same tools apply. Steamer, getting a satin bonnet. Some children, we know how children sleep. They want to move around while sleeping, so you could get a satin pillowcase for them to just use if the satin bonnet goes off, to use for them to protect their hair, to prevent it from cutting. And it also prevents, it helps keeping moisture. So another thing too that can also help with kids is and adults is using the scalp massaging. scalp massaging. Scalp massaging helps a lot, especially during wash days, so that maybe after steaming or when using the shampoo, you can easily massage the hair for blood circulation or to kind of ease off pressure. It's just a kind of therapy, as if you are scratching your hair with your comb. It's just like a scalp massager to help with blood circulation within the scalp. So these are things that will help with children, and don'ts I tell moms are just like, don't use rubber bands, like very tight rubber bands, because it causes friction. It will cut the hair. When it is tight, it cuts the hair. What else? Okay, for protective styles, don't use tight, don't make it tight, don't use like tight extensions that would break or would pull tension on the scalp. Ensure you use the LOC method, the liquid. Ensure the hairspray, you spray water on your hair every day. I tell people after to just think and remember how to maintain your hair after brushing. You can, after brushing every day, you can get your spray bottle, spray it, use the oil so that you wouldn't forget. The same thing applies every day. It's consistency really works, so that's the basic thing. Once all this is done with consistency, the hair will grow and your kids will be happy. They won't have pains. I remember when I was growing up, I usually have pains when I go and make my hair. And in Africa, when you go and make your hair, the hairdressers are not always nice. They hit you with comb and you just feel pain all over. So, we should just make it, in this century, we should just make it fun for children and have a more realistic approach to hair care.
Mr. Dedeji, thank you. I noticed, are you in your shop or is this your bedroom that you're in? Because you have all the equipment. You brought the massager, you brought the comb, you brought the oil. You have everything in your empire there. Where are you taking this from?
So it's my office,
Okay,
so I
okay.
have everything in store.
And it's there's just a lot to wrap our heads around there, right? Because you have the massager. My mom didn't use a massager for me,
Mhm.
so how would I know I need a massager? I want you now. We have This is my final question, and I want to say thank you for writing for us several times. And you have also committed yourself now to writing in our spring 2023 edition. Where can we find you? I know you are the owner, you are the proprietor of brownskinstore.com. I want you to talk to us really quickly on the products that move. What are your top products that people can lay their hands on to buy? Can we find the massager on your website? Where can people find you for more in-depth conversations
Okay.
about hair?
Okay. So thank you so much. And for websites, is it's on the it's dropped on the chat. I can always be reached on my website. I also have an Instagram account. So for the top products that people buy, using people try to use trying people try to go more organic, just because people want to feel that natural afro hair care. So for the top products are black soap shampoo, um hair oil for hair growth. This is called the Slick Edges. We have hair kits where we have the shampoo, conditioner, hair butter. Kids hair butter are kids friendly. I have children, baby girls that have used hair butter and it helped with their hair growth, their edges, their general hair growth, the hair was very easy to manage. So the air butter is something that goes to very fast. The air oil goes to very fast. And of course, I also have skin products for children, for adults too, just like the shea butter, because of the weather we are in. Canada is cold and Edmonton is very cold, so uh I use shea butter, and I know most people use it to protect yourself. We have the shea butter, we have body scrubs. Talking about body scrubs for general exfoliation, turmeric, we have ranges of turmeric, strawberry. We have the black soap too. So these are the most selling products that people purchase and add get value from it. Oh, getting feedbacks. Oh, the hair oil helped me a lot. The slick edges helped my hair. The black soap shampoo helped it clarify it. It removes excess oil. You know, feedbacks like that make us happy and excited. So, and you can also get it in stores in the city, in Edmonton City. We have and in Calgary for now. We have our product carried by Bella 360 in Chapel, Southwest. We have it carried with Bulk Buy in the West. We have it carried we have it carried on the website. We have it carried on in Calgary, La Poche Beauty Supply in Calgary, and a distributor in Calgary too. And you can always to get in touch with me. You can always send a message on the website or follow us on our Instagram page, Brown Skin for Us.
Miss Adedeji, that was beautiful. I learned a lot, and I want to say thank you very much. You're the proprietor, the owner of
Yeah,
brownskinstore.com, and
yeah,
people can get a hold of you there. I look forward to your submission. Um, in our spring edition, I'll chat to you later about that. But thank you so very much for coming. Thank you so very much. I'm grateful for your time.
yeah. Thank you so much, Miss T Adeyemo. Always your magazine. I love the quality. I was thinking that, oh, I'm coming to Ladies Corner. Will I put on the purple? Purple? Oh, I didn't. I was
Did
just
you
like,
go and
oh,
get your copies? Did you get to Flourish Dental to get your copy?
yes,
Did
I
you
got
get to?
it. I even went
Very
to it.
good.
Yes,
You know,
I
I'll
got it.
chat you up. I need to meet you now. You know, we've been diddly daddling for over a year. It's time to see you in person and maybe give you a
Yes.
hug. Thank you for all that you do. I
Oh,
will let you go now. Please enjoy the rest of your evening and
oh,
then we'll talk soon. Yeah,
okay.
we have to meet
Thank
in
you.
person. Thank you so very much
Thank
again.
you. Enjoy your day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye. Miss Damilola Adedeji is a columnist for Ladies Corner magazine as her latest edition there, and she's written severally for us. She's the owner of Brown Skin Store.com for all your skin and hair products. We have our next guest waiting. I don't want them to kill me, so I better introduce them. They're the duo combo. You cannot get one without the other. They work together. They are the directors at Dexteritas. It's all about your money. Taxes in is near. It's Tayo Nathan and Mr. Dotu Ayo Bamishaye. Welcome and sorry to have kept you waiting there. We thank you for joining our big conversations this month. I just need to, yes, remove myself. So thank you again, Dotun, and thank you for Ty. I was just saying you cannot get A without B or B without C. It's like yin yang mishmash. Just joking. But welcome to the show tonight. Your big conversations. What would you be talking about today?
Thanks for having us, T. It's always a pleasure to be able to be part of the big conversation. This is the first one this year, right? It's amazing to be able to participate and to share our thoughts as far as money is concerned. So we're going to talk about your money, bearing in mind that it's a new year, it's a reset, it's an opportunity to start things again and get them right. Tayo, is that correct?
Yes, we're talking about your money. Happy New Year, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having us. So let's get right to it. Your money, my money, everybody's money.
I like how you put that.
uh,
The great thing about this is this is January. This is 2023. It's a brand new year. Whatever has happened before now has happened, and it's time to pick yourself up and start all over again. Even though the banks may not like that idea, they want to hold on to whatever you owe them and wait for and expect you to pay, and that's actually right. However, all human beings like the opportunity to have a clean slate, a fresh start, a new opportunity. And with new beginnings come the opportunity to make different choices. So, Ty, as far as you're concerned, when it comes to money, what kind of new beginnings can we be talking about? What kind of new things can people be choosing to do this year as far as money is concerned?
Well, Doctor, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing I'm about that I'm about to say that we don't already know. Even the greatest sermons are the simplest sermons, if you know what I mean.
True.
So, New Year, maybe something we've not done in the past will be planning.
Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
and it's something you might be expecting a wow moment. What is she gonna say? Well, planning. What has happened is we've not planned our money, our income, or our expenses, and so that has affected us, right? So I think we should spend a moment talking about the importance of planning, creating a budget, actually stopping and sitting down and thinking about how you want to increase your income, earning capacity within the next year or two, right? Realistic goals that you may need to set for yourself, understanding the nature of your life and how things are. You might be new in country, so things are not yet clear, you're not yet sure. The whole thing looks like a mishmash, like a dog's breakfast. However, that's a phase, and you might be like, we finally passed the 3 year mark. We're setting up, we're about to buy this, buy a house, settle down, invest, and all that. And then you're like, oh, I've done all that now. I actually have time. My children are grown. I don't have to pay daycare fees. I don't have to spend money on soccer practice and soccer uniforms. I actually can keep some of my money. So for every stage in life, there is a need to plan and actually think about where you are and what you want to do with your money. And so this is a good time, like any other, the first month of the year to start planning. And there's no, actually, well, the first month of the year to actually plan, sit down, think about it, write it down, achievable goals, things that work for yourself, for your family, for your children. Maybe it's time to plan and save for college education. I was having a conversation with my daughter the other day, and I said, I don't have money for your college education. She's like, Mom. I'm like, yes, you have to plan for scholarship, you know, and that was traumatic for her.
More.
And I'm like, yeah, yeah, if there's scholarships available, plan to win or plan to get a scholarship. And if I have any money then, if I've not spent it all on myself, then I'll give you some. And that's planning too, right? Plan not to give the money away.
Well, now that we are talking about giving money away, you also need to look at how the money is going out. So
Mm,
we talk about income, but definitely we need to look at the expenses too. Um, some things are cultural. Your particularly if you don't work from home, your coffee from Tim's or Starbucks is almost a necessary part of corporate Canada. So yeah, you're looking at basic things like that. How much are you spending in your as far as miscellaneous expenses are concerned? Are you thinking about your utilities? Can you afford your current lifestyle? That's a question that most of us need to be able to answer. Are you able to pay your utilities, your residential cost, whether it's rent or mortgage? Um, Groceries. Inflation has gone through the roof. Groceries cost an arm and a leg at the moment. The fact that you could afford them last year doesn't mean you can still afford them this year. So the question is, can you answer that question? Can you afford your current lifestyle? And the way to know that is to take a look and say, okay, this is how much I used to spend last year. What is it costing me to do exactly the same thing? And if it's going to cost you significantly more, but if you're not aware, then your trusty credit card suddenly becomes the go-to mechanism to bridge the gap. But guess what? Credit cards are not cheap. They're not free. Neither are they cheap. A cheap credit card charges you interest at 11.99%. If you're not in that category, then you're paying interest at 30% on your credit card. So when you think about that, you really don't want to be shopping off groceries off your credit card when all the money is gone and you're just trying to make ends meet. So this is a good time to take a look at your expenses and ensure that they fit. And if they don't fit, then it's time to take Tayo's advice. Then you need to either scale back on the expenses, which is my advice, or increase the income, which is Tayo's advice. I think we all like a bit more money. Actually, we all like a lot more money. Tayo, is that right?
Yes, I actually am in the bucket of increase your earning capacity.
Mm.
Why? A lot of times we go, save money, don't eat out, don't buy coffee, don't I've moved on from that mindset, and I am not a financial coach by any means. So please, we talk about money. For those who are listening to me, this is my thoughts, right? My thoughts. I don't think that a $2 cup of coffee that you are refusing to buy, or maybe $4 cup of coffee, I don't know, $5 tops cup of coffee you're buying every other day from Starbucks or Teams or Second Cup, is what is going to bring you at the top to to being financially sustainable. Why? Because I like my cup of coffee and I need it to stay awake sometimes at work. And if you take that from me, you're not gonna get productivity. Period. So it's a quality of life, mental health moment. Like I need my coffee. If I can't afford the coffee, something is wrong. So the coffee might not be what you need to take away. It might be, let me have my cup of coffee and let me go hard and go long. You know what I mean? And
Get 2 cups of coffee and drink one while I'm studying for my next professional certification, so that I can get that next role that really amps up my income.
yeah, and somebody might say to me, well, you can actually buy a coffee maker in your house. Yes, but I don't want to buy a coffee maker in my house. Then I have to change the filters, right? And then I have to buy coffee
Pods.
pods. I would like to just drive to Tim's, buy it, and throw the cup away. Be done. This is me, right? And so if going to the mall every once in a while and getting yourself a nice piece of, I don't know what you like, jewelry, a nice dinner with your family every once in a while, get you, do what you have to do, right? Because this whole idea that's die, starve, and then you're trying to save money. Because eventually, if you die, you're not going to get the money either way, right? So just live a little, just a little, but plan for it. This is
Fine.
my
I like what you said. Leave a little but plan.
but plan,
So
live a little, but plan, right?
planned, right?
Yeah, because taking cotton, like if you have call them quality of life things, right? Imagine if you had your kids and say, I don't know, soccer, and you say no, we can't afford that. Yankees, we can't afford that. Yeah, I mean, if you truly can't afford it, then I understand. But if you can afford it and you're just trying to think it to make it won't, it really won't. Like every time you read um about planning money financial tips, a lot of them they tell you business, multiply the income. That's how money grows, right? So it's not enough of earning it or holding on to it. It's more about multiplying it. So then your focus should be, how can I multiply this $1? How can I generate $2? I'm not saying be financially responsible. Like I'm not saying go buy a $500 Gucci bag or I don't know, Louis Vuitton bag, but I'm just saying think about multiplying your income. So what are the tips to multiply the income this year? That's maybe in the planning. Some of whatever is comfortable for you. A second job, skip the other day I was driving out downtown and I noticed how there are lots of people who were doing skip the dishes, who were doing um DoorDash and all those things, and I'm like, wow. I mean, this is really working for people, right? 2 or 3 hour shifts here and there, you know, can work. And that's just start a business. You'll be amazed. Such a dream business. You don't know how that can go, until you start it. So I'm in um this camp of plan to multiply that income. Do the research.
So now the point is this: it's a new year. Take a look at where you were last year and then see where you are right now, and begin to put a plan in place that will take you to where you want to be. as far as your finances are. So, what are the kind of goals you can have? You can have a goal to be able to pay all your bills and still have some cash left at the end of the month. That is a real valid goal in this day and age. That now definitely means, okay, I need to increase my income in the short term. Now you can have a goal to say, hey, I want to have some emergency fund. I want to have some cash on the side that if something comes up, I have somewhere to go to. I'm not going to have to phone a friend or call a family member or anything. I have a stash, right? Have a goal to build a stash, whether it's 1 month of utilities or 3 months of utilities. Dave Ramsey says you should have at least 6 months of, your lifestyle cost available in an emergency fund at any given time. If you give yourself that as a goal, that's not a bad goal. And then, of course, there is the R word, retirement. Putting money aside for retirement. Yes, I saw the eyes. Putting money aside for retirement. You can put a plan in place to do something about that. So now that we've talked about retirement, Tayo, we can talk about RRSPs and maybe segue into taxes, right? So
Yeah, because there's that important deadline coming up, right? Where if you've not put money in your RRSP all throughout last year, you still can put some money in your RRSP. And I think deadline is usually February
February
20th.
one, whichever one it is. So
Yes.
plan to put whatever money into your RRSP by February 28th.
Yeah, that's an important plan, right? It helps you with your taxes.
Yes.
It really does help you with the taxes. So try, and the money is yours. The money is yours. You're gonna get it back now or later. So if you can't afford it, put some money in your taxes in your RRSP to help your taxes. It's really
Fantastic.
important.
So now that we are talking taxes, the fact is this is the 21st of January.
Hmm.
Um, Probably about 5 weeks from today, 4 weeks from today, actually, the CRA will have the systems ready to accept 2022 tax returns. So, what kind of things should we be thinking about as far as personal taxes are concerned, so that we can make the most of, all the work we did last year and try to position ourselves for a good refund? What should we be thinking about? You've talked about RRSPs, which is definitely one.
There's a lot of things depending on what part of the spectrum you are.
Mm,
Modest income is different from above modest income
yeah,
considerations, investments, right?
yeah.
Rental income. So there's a whole lot. The first one is gather your documents. So think about all the documents that would impact your taxes, right? Your T4 slips, T4As, T5s. I'm just mentioning them. Your charitable donation slips, your RRSP slips,
Your
um,
medical
your
expense,
medical expenses, daycare.
doctor, dentist, optician, pharmacist. Go to all of them and get statements that show how much you spent with them for the year. Your massage therapist, your physiotherapist, your podiatrist, anybody who is in medical or allied medical that you spent money with in the course of 2022, go back to them and get a statement that shows how much you paid. That is going to be of use to you.
So the thing about the medical bit of it is the one slip that nobody sends you anything automatically for. So right, like your T4, you get that automatically. Charitable donations probably will get that, not automatically, but at least those you probably will. They'll send you an email. Hey, this is how much you donated. RRSP, you get that. The medical one is very important, especially if you have a lot of medical bills for you, your children, dental, glasses, optician. Um, yeah, they won't send it to you. So you actually have to go to your pharmacist and
Fertility.
say, fertility treatment. Yes, that's important because those bills run high. So you actually have to go to your dentist, sorry, to your pharmacist and say, I'd like a statement. And you have to make different trips to them to send it to you. Otherwise, you're going to lose out on whatever benefit that would accrue to you or for you. So it's important to start early, so that they send it and you have it all. So when you go to your tax preparer, you give it to them and it's all there. And
Fantastic.
if you're one of those people who have that option of working at what's that one, the option where you work as a contractor and then you get able to claim your expenses, your gas bills and all that. I'm blanking out right now. Uh Sorry?
You're contracting.
You're a contractor, you need to get all your tax slips and all, sorry, your uh gas receipt and all that to show that you actually did do that, right? Anything your employer is giving you for taxes, just collect it all in the file, the document, and bring it over. It's really
Definitely.
important.
Now, another area to look in is childcare. So if you have young children that are placed in childcare, you're spending on the average somewhere between $800 and $1,000 a month. That's a whale of an amount of money, because it means you spent between $9,000 and $12,000 in childcare in the course of the year. And the government is willing to take a look at that and give you some of that money back. So you should be either getting the receipts or the statements from the childcare provider as well, for use in preparing your tax returns.
Yeah. If you have rental income, you have a property that you rented out and you received rental income, you need to get all your expenses um in a spreadsheet maybe, or in a shoebox. I don't know.
Yes, in a shoebox.
In a shoebox.
That income statement that says, hey, here's the income I've made and here are the expenses. And typical expenses for property income, you typically find property insurance, you find some repairs and maintenance, you find mortgage interest on the property. I think there's typically one other one: insurance, mortgage interest, repairs and maintenance. One of them fails me, but those are typical things that you find from the property end of things, and being able to properly account for them, puts you in a good place to be able to pay the right amount of taxes as is due to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so those are the things for on the personal income side that you might need to take you might need to take notice of and collate before time and plan that. Another thing you might consider planning is, if you're due for a refund, plan what you're going to do with the money.
Yes, and that's a
So
very one, because if you do all this work and then you get the refund and then you go to the mall and you blow it, it may not be a very good thing. How about you put that money in your TFSA and let it grow, and just let it grow there year after year after year? Your tax-free savings account, even though it does not contribute to your tax refund on an annual basis, you're able to grow the money that you put there on an ongoing compounded basis without any taxes being charged. So taking advantage of that is actually a smart thing to do, and it's something to consider, particularly when you are getting a refund, right?
yeah, you can pay off that credit card. Some of us have those tiny 600, 1,000, just annoying credit cards that we've had since. Ugh, and it's there. If you get a refund, maybe take some into your TFSA, as Dr. has said, put some towards something for your children's education, and then pay off a debt. Relieve yourself, but be very intentional about the
Mm.
money. I guess the point about this evening is how to be intentional about our finances, how to plan so that we succeed, and not leaving anything to chance. A lot of the great democracies in the world are planned. If you notice, they have been built and they've been engineered and they've built and rebuilt and built because it works. It really does work. Principles work. So if you follow it, it will work for you. So that's, I guess, the point we're trying to make. Plan for your taxes, plan for your future, plan for your finances, increase your income, do the research, and it will all come back to you well.
Fantastic. I like how you've tied it up nicely in a bun tile. The point that we're making tonight is this: if you're going to succeed this year, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan for your money. Where does the plan start from? Look at how last year went. Look at how you'd like this year to go, and then try and bridge the gap. What does bridging the gap means? Bridging the gap means that you are looking at your expenses and trying your best to ensure that you're not spending more than you're earning. And if you are, you are putting a plan in place to ensure that you can increase your income to the point where not only are you covering your expenses, but you're able to pay down the debts that you've incurred when you are not, as well as begin to save for the future, when the debt is fully paid down. Now, when you are in that position, that gives you, that is good for your blood pressure, it's good for your mindset, it's good for your heart, and it's good for your family. And this is January. In a month from now, the system will be open for the CRA to receive your 2022 tax returns. So plan for that refund. If you're the type that's most likely going to get a refund, plan for the refund by contributing to your RSPs, getting your donation slips, getting your medical expense receipts, getting your child care receipts, and then writing up the income statements for your business or your property, as the case may be. And then get ready, take all that documentation to your tax preparer or your accountant, or you can bring them to Dexteritas. We'll do a good job. And then, yeah, let's see how we can build for ourselves better financial lives. Let's see how we can become better people, particularly in this area that is so easy to count money, right?
If you're gonna pay back taxes, if you're owing taxes, do you have any tips? Because some of us may owe taxes
Mm,
back. It's totally
mm,
the reality. I'm
good.
all for, if you owe the government, pay the government. Um, so planning to pay that back. I think you can also plan to pay it if you have the money. Pay it. If you can also take advantage of the installment payments, right? That's
Yeah.
options to pay instrumentally. If you know you're gonna owe, excuse me, if you know you're gonna owe, you can pay instrumentally through the year so that the next year you're not having to shell out 30, 40,
No,
50. I
but
don't know.
pay instrumentally, you need to pay last year's own that you owe right now. So,
Yeah, I'm saying,
okay, go
if
ahead.
you've never thought, if you've owed year to year and you know that your income is in that level, you might think about, instead of having to shell out 20, I don't know, 5, 10,000 at once, maybe start thinking about putting money aside through the course of the year, so that when it's time you're not totally stressed out about it. I'm just
Mhm.
talking about general planning. If you've never thought about that, right, don't wait till the last moment to pay the money back. And if you know it's difficult, the best thing for you to do is to call CRA. Well, no, I think they'll reach out to you after a while. And if you have a payment plan, just meet up with your obligations of your payment plan, right? Because sometimes they will say, "Hey, we know this has happened," and we'll say, "Pay us 300 every month." Pay you 300. That was, they'll come after you.
And I need to say that if you set up a pay, if you actually call the CRA and say, hey guys, I owe you $3,000 and I can't pay it in 6 months like you like, or 2 months like you like, I need 12 months. Because of the fallout of COVID and then the recent increase in inflation rates and the challenging economic environment, the CRA has become pretty, I wouldn't say I would say amenable to longer payment plans as long as you keep to it. So when you agree a payment plan with the CRA and say, okay, I will pay you $300 every month for the next 10 months, they expect to see it consistently. If you miss it the first month and the second month, by the third month, they're going to come after you. But if you pay the first month and then the second month, and then you miss the third month, and then you pay the fourth month, they'll still let you be. So they just want to see that you're making the effort to keep up with your payments. So please do.
Oh, we thank God for the CRA and for the good work they do.
Yeah, they ensure that the government has revenue to keep the lights on, keep the roads tarred, and that we have to get this democracy running.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah,
I think we're at the end of our time. We can't go any further. Otherwise, you would have to charge consultation fees.
yeah, don't worry. So I think with this point has been made tonight. Set out a plan. Set out a plan for your finances for the year. Prepare a budget, set out a plan for your taxes. Taxes is around the corner. In terms of finding a second job, I think Tayo has gone on and on about the quick wins. Skip, DoorDash, Instacart, Uber Eats, Uber, all those are potential options. Outside of that immediate go pick up, the next thing is to say, hey, what exactly is available in your area of expertise that would allow you to increase your income, so that lots of certifications out there that you can use to upskill and upgrade yourself, whether it's put together by a professional body locally or some other body globally, but they are recognized designations that you can pick up that will have a direct impact on your income. Some of them will take years to secure, and some of them will just be a few weeks. The important thing is put some effort and some thought and effort into the process. And should you, let's see,
Talk to us about when we can begin to file our taxes as business people and individuals. Deadline is April 30th. CRA begins to receive taxes March 1, I
uh,
think.
it's February, let's say March 1, by March 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually. So that's when you can actually. Mm, I know that the free income tax links, CVITP allows March 1. I don't know if that. Um, I think it's mid February where CRA allows transmitting. I think e-file opens. Don't quote me on that. I forget each
File
year.
open 3 of February.
Yeah, so some mid February is when I believe you can start transmitting your returns. So anytime before April 30. T4 deadlines, right? I think February 28th.
Yeah, for all corporations that have employees, you have to have filed the T4 summaries for your employees by February 28th.
I believe.
Them. Ty, I think you are saying something about CVITP, right?
Yeah, so we don't offer.
What we are doing this year.
So no, we don't offer. The Exterritas does not do free taxes. The Exterritas is a corporation. We charge money for every service we give. However, we are affiliated with foundations who offer free income taxes, free preparation and transmitting of your taxes to the government if you are of low or modest income. So if you go to the website LCC Media Foundation, there's more information there. If you know somebody who would like to have their income taxes prepared for them for free, we are affiliated with that foundation and we are able to help transmit taxes for free in that capacity if you are low or modest income. If you are not low or modest income, you will pay for your taxes or
Period.
not, depending on
We'll pay. If you are
you
not
will pay to
bothered,
prepare your taxes.
we'll pay.
Yeah, so we are a corporate. The Accelerators is a business like your business, and we are open to keep our lights on for longer and pay our staff and increase our income, like we're telling you to do. So yes. So but otherwise, LCC Media Foundation, if you go there, you'll find the information for the free community tax clinic in Edmonton and Calgary, and that's for low and modest income earners. So
And if you would like to volunteer to support LCC Media Foundation, you can head right to the website lccmediafoundation.ca. The pop-up shows up right there, and you can register to volunteer with us. And then you get an email that will instruct you on the things you need, the processes that you need to have completed by the time the season starts, so that you'll be able to be part of the crew. Whether you're going to be preparing taxes or you're going to be part of just administering the clinic as a whole is yet to be seen. But definitely, I believe the people at LCC Media Foundation will be happy to have you on as a volunteer supporting them in that enterprise.
yes, I'm sure they will be. Once again, I think it's our time. What about provincial? What about the provincial $600? How can we get that? Which particular provincial $600?
I think T is talking about I think this is federal money, and I think it's the recent rental subsidy.
No, the rental subsidy is $500. This is the one that the Premier is giving families who earn less than $180,000 per annum.
Okay.
They think you can get $100 a month for six
Yeah.
months. Could you please talk to our audience about how to lay our hands on that money? And whilst you're on it, the federal government is also giving money for dental care and rent subsidies. Is there a way we can tap into all this money that they are giving for free?
So, to my mind, accessing the federal and provincial subsidy um, will be strictly based on your income. So you will not be getting those funds because you put in a specific application. You'll be getting those funds because the CRA has reported to the relevant government bodies that you fall in the income bracket that qualifies. And if your banking information is with the CRA, your account will be credited on the specific dates. If your banking information is not with the CRA and you do not have direct deposit, then you'll be receiving a check in the mail. So I don't think there's anything specific that you need to do as far as the rental subsidy and the provincial support is concerned.
So the
Uh,
application opened January 18th, and you do it through the verified Alberta account.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's $100 per month, and um, there's a phone number to call. So this is one of those things where you apply and you get it if you qualify based on your tax
Mm.
information that they have, right? There's, it- yeah,
So basically, there is a form to fill.
yeah, online, yeah.
T, can you put up the URL where that form can be found so that our viewers can see that?
I mean, Taya, you have it if you put it in your comments. My technology capacity is limited tonight.
Okay,
But
okay,
if
I will put it in the comments. I'll put it. Let me pull it up right now.
sorry, the reason is I'm streaming on a Chromebook and I have just this portion. I don't want things to shut down if I'm everywhere. So I've been very disciplined tonight. Just on StreamYard.
Yeah, you're doing great. We had no idea that you had any challenge.
Oh yes, and the video quality initially was not brilliant. My face looked really dark, scary, I'd say, but we've been able to overcome that, and we're moving to the second hour of our streaming tonight.
Nice,
So
nice.
we, so we thank you. So, what are your goals for 2023, Dexteritas? Do you plan to? What are your goals?
So without letting the cat out of the bag, we're doubling down on our focus on accounting and business support. That has been our bread and butter over the years, and we're looking to not just execute that, but we're looking to grow that. And in addition to that, we're also looking to support business owners in new ways. So we are picking up all sorts of competencies around education and people development and building character and building strength and resilience and consistency. Because like we found out, those are all key components and key capacities required to be able to run, to be able to establish, operate, and succeed in business. So these are things that our clients who are business owners and and even the individuals are going to see a lot of from us this year. We're looking to establish ourselves in that space, not just to support business owners with business, but to help them understand that it takes character and it takes consistency to succeed and excel at whatever you do.
Absolutely. I was just going to add that, hi, I love your background. Whilst most of us are sweating in this windowless room that we're streaming from, I can see a grand piano in your background and lofty furniture. I dare say accountants live, they live well. So that's just by the side. The question is, could you share the books you'll be reading for 2023? What does your reading list look like, Tayo? And then Dotun can also answer.
Well, I was gonna answer that question about the $600 eligibility payment. First of all, I don't think we did it justice, and I don't want people to think that we didn't talk about it well. So you get the affordability payment for seniors 65 and older, families and caregivers with children under 18, and if you're already receiving HPDD income support and other senior benefits. So for most people, you probably will fall under um, the families and caregivers with children under 18. Families can apply to get $600 for each dependent child under 18. First and kinship caregivers automatically get the payment for each child placed in their care. Eligibility: parents or guardian of dependent children who are 18 between January 18 and June 30. Adjusted gross income is below 180,000 according to your 2021 tax return. Alberta resident as of November 30, 2022, and remains so on the first day of each month between January and June. When to apply: anytime from January 18 to June 30. And you can apply for each child. You get $100 for every child for every month they're under 18. If you have a baby during the application period, you get $100 per month starting the month they are born. If you share custody 40 to 6 pence of the time, both parents can apply to get $50 per month for each child. If you're 65 or older, you can apply to receive $600 payments for seniors when you complete the application. If you're on age income support or PDD and have dependent children under 18, you need to apply to receive the payments for your children. Um, and that's, I think, there's more information, and you go to the alberta.ca affordability dash payment, and that's where you get all that information. And you just have to apply. So you can apply online, and that's it. So I hope that has cleared that up. So affordability.alberta.ca, you're there and you can apply. And I think everybody should apply once you file your 2021 taxes. Oh, 2021 taxes, not even 2022 taxes. So you really can apply right now. So yeah, if you're under 180,000 from or less. So about the books I will be reading, my Bible. That's
We-
the one I'm reading.
Mm.
Say again. I'm
So
going. I'm going to heaven, guys.
yeah, I'll be reading the.
Matthew, the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts, Romans, First Corinthians, Second Corinthians. Can I say any more book? Genesis,
Thank you,
Exodus,
Tayo. Thank
Leviticus,
you.
Numbers,
We
Judges,
love you
Joshua.
reading the New Testament.
Amen.
Okay, I generally get your where you're going to. Thank you. Dato, you plan to read the Old Testament as well?
Yeah, that's a part of life. In addition to that, I'll be reading some books around focus and consistency, and of course, lots of stuff on marketing, whether it's traditional marketing and social media, building funnels, connecting with people, all that stuff that nobody teaches you in accounting school. Yeah, it comes with the territory. There's a business to run.
Absolutely, Tayo and Dotun, we're grateful for your time tonight. You are both accountants at dexteritas.ca, and if anyone listening is interested, they can grab you at www.dexteritas.ca. Tayo, enjoy reading the book, the New Testament, and maybe try Proverbs and the Book of Solomon this year. You find some helpful tips about life
Song
and
of
leadership.
Solomon there.
Yes, Songs of Solomon
Yeah.
for leadership and life. And Datu, thank you very much. We hope the year will be very good for you and for us all. Thank you again for coming tonight. See you next month.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. And that was Tayo, El Nathan, and the two Ayobami Shaye, both of the Exteritas.ca, telling and talking to us about your money, my money, our money. And when we come back, we have Giselle General. She's going to be updating us about the latest at Edmonton City Council. And we hope that was fun for you, the time with Tayo and to don't go away, Giselle General, after this short break. Hello and welcome back to Big Conversations. It's your monthly magazine show where we talk about everything. We have some in-depth, real conversations about lives, about what's going on in our community. So far tonight, we've had Damlola Dedeji talk about hair. We've had Femi Tayo and Tundu talk about our money, your money. And now we have Giselle. She's going to be talking to us about what's going on at Edmonton City Council. If you are new to the show, can we kindly ask that you like, share, and subscribe? What we get for tonight is your subscription. We hope you subscribe to our channel. And to find out more about us, our magazine is out. This is our latest magazine. You can read it all for free at www.ladiescorner.ca. Without much ado, here is Giselle as we talk about Edmonton City Council. Happy New Year, Giselle. Thank you so very much for coming on the show tonight. I think you're muted, dear friend.
All right, let's try that again. Hello?
Happy New Year, Giselle. Thank you so very much for coming on the show.
Yes,
Mhm.
of course. Happy New Year. And I hope that all our viewers and supporters are having a good evening and a good start of the new year, actually. And yeah, as T said, I would like to welcome you back to our Edmonton City Council segment. I'm your host, Giselle General, and I'm here to share information and insights that might help you if you want to get more engaged and informed about city government so you can make the impact you want to see. Because that's all that we want. We want to have a city with programs and services that works well for our everyday lives. First off is our rapid fire segment. Here's a short summary of what's been going on in the city that I recommend you keep an eye on. City Council has approved the 2023 to 2026 budgets throughout all their debates last December. The result is property taxes increased by about 5% in each of the next 4 years. The capital budget, which is at $7.9 billion, is passed 9 yes, 4 no. And the operating budget, which is about 3.3 billion in 2023, 3.3 billion in 2024, 3.5 billion in 2025, and 3.6 billion in 2026, it was passed 8 yes, 5 no. The resulting tax increases for the next 4 years will look like this: 4.96%, 4.96%, 4.95%, and 4.39%. City Council will have the opportunity to make budget adjustments once a year every fall, which could change these numbers a little bit. Edmontonians who rely on curbside garbage collection can now opt out of receiving the paper version of the calendar. Last year, about 25,000 people, so about 10%, chose to opt out of the paper calendar and started using the digital service available on the WasteWise app from the city. The deadline to switch to digital is February 13th. A 24/7 temporarily emergency homeless shelter in West Edmonton is set up to open, yeah, actually yesterday, January 20th. It is located in the former hotel at 155th Street and Stony Plain Road. This will be operated in partnership with two agencies, the Jasper Place Wellness Center and the Tall Cree Tribal Government. It will open at 30% capacity and eventually it will have 209 spaces, including 59 private beds and 150 congregate living spaces. At Executive Committee this past week, City Council continued their discussion on addressing homelessness. One of the motions that is passed is asking Administration and Homeward Trust to report on lessons from implementing Edmonton's plan to prevent and help end homelessness. And a few updates about snow clearing in the city because it's still winter. A few months ago, we had a contest, or the city rather, had a contest called Name a Plow as a fun opportunity for Edmontonians to suggest names for the snow clearing machinery. Some of the winners, which were announced this past week, are pretty creative names such as Connor McBladeit and Amersley Snowhy. The city will start clearing snow and ice off residential roads next week in order to avoid ruts and the very high windrows that people complained about last year. So for now, people would have to walk through the soft snowpack for the weekend, so I recommend that you be careful. And next, I want to talk about how you can share your insight. Many people in the city want to give feedback so that our policymakers, which is City Council, could consider your perspectives and experiences when making decisions. And I recommend that you definitely do so. There are several ways to share your insight and make your voice heard. And for this episode, I've talked about it sometime early last year, but I think it's a good time to give a refresher on how to contact our elected representatives, which is city councilors for each of our ward, and also the office of the mayor. Now that the 4 year budget decisions have been completed, if you want to give feedback on how these decisions affect you, or give more feedback, especially when tax assessments will be sent in the mail later this year, you can give them feedback anytime. You don't have to wait until election day or before certain meetings. And the handy thing is, all of this information is in the City of Edmonton's website. When you go to edmonton.ca, click the button on the top called City Government and the sub-menu option called Councillors and Mayor. The first thing you will see is a little button, a tool called Find Councillor and Ward. The names of our city wards, so the little districts that we have, they all changed in 2021, but I understand that people are still learning the name of our new ward boundaries. So if you need a refresher on the name of the ward and the councillor who is representing you, you can go to the section called Find Councillor and Ward, type your address, and then you will find the name of your ward and the contact information of your city councillor. In the same web page, you will also see a section called Office of the Councillors and Office of the Mayor. If you decide to click on the link that says Send a Message to the Mayor, it will direct you to an online form where you can type directly your message and your contact information and even attach files. So you don't need to make a new message on your email address. It's a direct message form. Same goes with the link Send a Message to your councillor. But before you can do that, you need to know already which councillor you want to send a message to. And when you do send a message, based on my personal experience, response times may vary. I personally have had councillors who had taken more than 2 weeks to respond. Some councillors take a few days. In some councillor offices, it's the actual councillor who will respond to you. And then when you need to coordinate schedules, let's say for a meeting, then they will loop in their administrative assistant. For some councillors, however, the assistants are in charge of communicating and scheduling the entire way. Next up, I want to talk about City of Edmonton's ABCs. As a refresher over the past few months, ABCs in this instance mean agencies, boards, and commissions, which is a group of people who apply and get appointed to make decisions or recommendations to the city on certain topics. I myself am a member of one, of the Edmonton Transit Service Advisory Board, because I rely on our bus and LRT system in the city, and it is the responsibility of the municipal government. The next ABC on the list I wanted to talk about is the Community Services Advisory Board. This board has two very distinct duties that come hand in hand. First, they are an advisory policy board, but they are also a budgeting recommendation board as well. Their mandate and their advice focus on issues under the category of community services, which is defined as social policy, arts, culture, multiculturalism, parks, recreation, and sports. Their budgeting recommendation duties are very specific. It's not like they can tell the city to spend a lot of money on all different things. They make recommendations on how these two specific funds are allocated. One is called the Family and Community Support Services and Community Investment Grants. I personally have known of local nonprofit organizations who are granted money through these initiatives so that they can continue the work they do for the community. And I think that having everyday people and volunteers who help in a board like this is very important so that input from everyday folks who do not work for the city is considered on a regular basis. And just like many of the ABCs, recruitment of members happen in the beginning of the year where everyone, everyday people like you and me can apply. There are announcements that the city make when applications are open. And in fact, applications for 2023 just closed last week. It is similar to a job application where you send a resume, reference letters, and create an online account in their portal. So if you're interested and missed this opportunity for this year's cycle, mark your calendar so you can apply early next year and participate in this committee if you are interested. And lastly, I want to talk about our final segment, which is 311 at your fingertips. As a refresher, we have multiple 3-digit services for different things that we need, which is 911, 811, and 211. But 311 is for the municipal government, which is a method for us to report issues that we want the city to fix. 311 is many things, or there's different ways you can use it. It's a phone number, an online form, email address, and there's an app. So over the last few months, I have given detailed reports and tutorials on what you can do with the app, how to file a report, how to file complaints, and how to monitor whether your complaint has been responded to. In this episode, I'm talking a little bit more big picture, and I'd like to share the fact, which is a good news, that you can access large data on complaints submitted over the years. You can find this information online on the City of Edmonton 311 page. 311 responds to approximately 2 million inquiries per year, and the online dataset are refreshed 2 times a day, which is great because people require file in complaints at all different times of day and night. If you go to the page online, you will see different subcategories such as the volume of 311 requests, archives per year, and data sets such as by ward, by neighborhood, or topics. This screen over here is a screenshot of what you can see once you have picked a focused data set. So then for this example, it would be the top 311 requests by neighborhood. There's a simplified bar graph on the top, and then there are data columns below. And on the right side, you can filter on the different sections there so you can narrow down the information. For example, if you want information only on snow-related reports or litter or vandalism, you can narrow the data. If you are a researcher, statistician, political science student, or someone who just loves working with raw data, you can download these as well. It would be a CSV file, so it would be workable with Excel spreadsheets and all these standard data and information management software. The archive goes back as far as 2014, which is really handy. And I think all these data sets can be a useful testament that many Edmontonians do try to use the proper channels when making reports or complaints so that the city can fix the issues we see around us. The 311 service continues to improve every year, so I highly recommend that everyone use it when you make reports, especially the app because you can actually take a picture of the thing you're complaining about. Not only is it a useful way to document different issues, it helps the city with statistical information that can help with decision making. And that wraps up our segment on Edmonton City Council. I'm your host, Giselle General, your everyday engaged Edmontonian, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much, Giselle. Thank you very,
Of
very much.
course.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you want to tell us about your plans for the new year?
Absolutely. It's been an adventurous new year here in my home and in my future goals. As I have mentioned to T before, I have resigned from my career in the nonprofit sector about 6 months ago, and I am making big changes, taking big risks. I would like to give myself a trial run of 1 year to seriously pursue a career in writing. So I'm working on a few books right now, book manuscripts, and I'm trying to apply for funding through the different arts foundations here in the city and in the country to see if they will give me some support so I can focus on completing this work. And my most current project right now is writing a memoir about my childhood from age 8 when my parents and sister were killed in an accident until my immigration to Canada. So the manuscript is on its way, 48 chapters and going, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it on the shelves.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's a huge one too. That's a huge one. So what prompted this leap to memoir writing?
The memoir itself has been a project that I have considered for quite some time. However, I'm sure you're aware of all the things that keep me busy, my career and my community involvement, and even my artistic journey. And I also ran for city council last year, so it definitely has been a hectic couple of years. But over the years, I have always done writing, with the Alberta Filipino Journal and the anthology. So I've felt comfortable sharing insights from my personal lived experience, and I felt interested in taking it to the next level. I have self-published a little bit before, but I have not published a full-length book. So I thought that it would be a remarkable experience. I think that there's a lot of room in the book industry and in the entertainment industry to learn more stories of different people from all walks of life, and I'd like to take up that challenge. And one significant thing I've learned recently is different organizations are available to support aspiring artists and writers, like the Writers Guild of Alberta and the Canadian Asian Arts Network, which was formed just last month. And I joined them up, and they're helping me a lot in this journey.
That's very interesting. I know if you have dreams that you want to accomplish them, Alberta is like one of the number one place. It is the number one place to get whatever dream you have achieved. So I'm wondering if you're writing, it means you're also reading. Could you share with us what your reading list is going to be like for this year?
But I'm really fortunate that because of the mentorship program I am with right now with the Writers Guild of Alberta, I am paired up with a author mentor, an actual accomplished author in Canada named Wendy McGrath, and she's given me a pile of books to read. So that's been keeping me busy, and some of them. I guess my reading list right now is categorized into two things. So first is specifically on the nuts and bolts of writing. So she lent me the book called The Art of Novel. She recommended the book The Art of Memoir by Mary Carr, which I finished already. The book On Writing by the accomplished novelist Stephen King. And on thanks to the Edmonton Public Library and the app, I've also borrowed a lot of memoirs because it's really fascinating to observe how other people have narrated their life experiences. And I also have a pretty long list as well over there, such as The Liars Club by Mary Carr. So it was really cool to see her memoir and her book teaching how to write a memoir. I really, really love it. I'm borrowing a few books written by Filipino authors, such as Tony's Wheels by our very own writer in Edmonton, Mila Bongkog Flipsic, and there's a few more. It's all on my phone. Ebooks are really fantastic that way.
Lovely. Yeah, I was just curious. One memoir that everyone is talking about is Spare by Prince Harry Windsor. Have you been able to read that memoir yet?
No, I haven't. And the reason why is I think what the types of memoirs that really interest me are the memoir, like I learned this term from one of the how-to books I have read on writing a memoir. There's a term called of people like myself, I suppose, called the relatively unknown people. So the people who are not celebrities, not royalty, not athletes. And I think there's particular art and unique kind of beauty in learning about the lives of everyday people who have suffered a lot. So I think that resonated more with me because I think it's a bit more relatable. I've heard a lot of commentary about the Prince's book, but right now it's not in my list. I suppose the latest memoir of a popular person I've read, which I thought was amazing, is I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai, because she immigrated from a country from the global south and had a lot of hardships in her life. Even though she's now famous because of all her activism work, there's still a lot of her stuff that resonated with me. But frankly, I don't think the hardships of a British royalty would resonate with me at this point.
I hear what you're saying. I
Yes.
absolutely hear. But our lives, or my life, I say, is boring enough. Sometimes you need Jews from America, you need Jews from the United Kingdom to keep it just
Yeah.
a bit fresh and spicy.
Well, it's actually remarkable how much, I guess, if we can choose the word drama, like how much interesting and fascinating insight or lives everyday people face. So yeah, it's some of the hardships I have read in the memoirs of this, I guess, like relatively unknown people are quite horrible, frankly. And I think, it was interesting reading them. It's interesting how they describe their experiences, and I figured that would be more useful in my own journey in completing this memoir myself.
I mean, the one book you mentioned that I've seen around, which I'm going to lay my hands on, is I Am Malala. The book I'm reading right now is Malcolm X.
Oh,
This is autobiography as told to Alex Haley. It
oh
is a
my.
very compelling and in many parts difficult, but I hear what you're saying that, the stories of people who are unheard of, resonates maybe with more people than the rich prince who's living out in California. So I hear you there. I hear
Yeah,
you there.
you will love Malala's book, and you know what surprised me? I mean, I'm probably revealing my age this way, but Malala is a millennial like myself. Like she's not that much younger than me, which I find really remarkable. And it's interesting when you hear about the activists and people who try to make an impact in the community, and you can't help but sometimes put them up on a pedestal. But when I read her book, there's so many everyday things that a young girl or a young teenager worried about that I worried about in my younger years as well. But of course, she had these additional complications of the socio-economic political realities of her life. But turns out we like the same movies and we worried about being top in the top person in school, and culture shock in a western country is also weird. And I found that really remarkable combination. I borrowed it digitally through the Edmonton Public Library app. So that's one option. If you're okay with reading through your phone, keeps me off of social media so that I don't stay there too long. So ebooks on the phone are really handy.
No, I read on my phone. Libby is an app
Oh, that's what
one.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent.
I swear by it. It's really, really good.
Yes,
Yeah, so thanks for introducing me to that. I've seen a Malala around. That's certainly one that resonates. I'm gonna find. I
yes.
am not a millennial, but I know of her. I've heard about her, and I'm really inspired by the work she's doing and the work you're doing. And
Mhm.
so I should give that a read when I'm done with Malcolm X. Giselle General, I want to say thank you so very much for the work you've put into this episode,
Of
for the work you
course,
put into every episode. And I'm grateful that you're staying on in 2023, giving us
absolutely.
the tidbits, the juicy bits of what's happening at Edmonton City Council. So thank you very much, and please enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.
My pleasure, and thanks for all the work you do. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you, Giselle. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Hmm. So that was Giselle General giving us a lowdown of what's going on at City Council. When we come back, we'll be looking at what autism is with a very, very special guest. We're going to take a short break now. And when we come back, we'll be learning more about autism with our guest. Don't go away. This is Big Conversations with T. Hello, welcome back to Big Conversations with your host, Tee Adeyemo. Big Conversations is a monthly magazine show produced by LCCMedia and hosted by my very humble self. Tonight, we've looked at how to deal and manage with kinky hair. We've learnt about your money, my money, her money. We did finances with Tayo and Dotun. And then that was Giselle giving us an update at Edmonton City Council. Still to come, a conversation about mental health and the panel we did earlier this week with Mary Thomas on again dealing with mental health because mental health is real and it's very important. So we ask that you like and subscribe and that you share our content. So stay with us as the conversation we're about to have right now is very, very important. It's down to earth and it's very real. And we ask that you share this content with your friends and with your family. Now, autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. Autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. People with ASD often have problems with social communication and interaction and restricted or repetitive behaviors or interests. People with autism spectrum disorder may also have different ways of learning, moving, and paying attention. Tonight, we've brought on a guest to help us, to enlighten us, to educate us about what ASD is. About 20 or 30 years ago, it was said that 1 in 44 children were diagnosed with autism, but it appears lately autism has been quite rampant in our communities and in our families. So without much ado, to educate us, we'll be learning about autism with Edore, and she joins us live from Calgary. Good evening, Edore. It's so nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Nice to be here.
Yes, and I know you said you've not done this before. We're just going to have a very private conversation, just that the world will be listening. And when we were discussing this, I said it was important because before now, I didn't have a background to autism. I didn't put myself in the position to. It was removed from me, and if not because I'm involved with it now, I won't. I don't. May God forgive me. I won't be interested in autism. Is the honest to God truth. And so we've invited you here because so many people are like me. Perhaps they know nothing and they stand from afar and they watch the child train the tantrum on the train, on the bus, in the party, and they judge the mother. That child needs discipline. What are you not doing right with that child? Or they slip the mother a note like you. Yeah, there's just something wrong. And we all need a bit of understanding and enlightenment on autism. So for to get us into this, could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, like you know, my name is Edore. Currently, I live in Calgary. I'm a mom of three. My first son was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. Currently, I work with teenagers also in high school on the spectrum with various disability from autism to mental health or even anxiety. So just a little bit about myself. But today I'll be speaking more from a mom's point of view rather than a professional point of view when it comes to autism.
Yeah, so I got a definition from off the internet about what autism or ASD is. Would you say that definition is correct in your own intimate position? How would you describe autism?
Um, like most of us know, autism is a spectrum. So different kids fall into different category. Like it's like everyone will say, if you've met one child with autism, you've met one child with autism. It doesn't necessarily mean every child with autism have the same behavior or even act the same way. So it's a spectrum, and anyone can fall into any of the spectrum, any area of the spectrum.
So how do we begin to now? Okay, let me actually start by dealing with. I was at a prayer service and the pastor was asking us to pray that God should give us power. He said he held a baby and he was praying that the baby would stop being autistic, and God didn't answer his prayer. And he fasted 30 days afterwards, and the baby is still autistic. The question is, one, how should we, is this something God can heal? Is it a lack of prayer that maybe has caused a child to be autistic? Is it ignorant of that pastor to have spoken like that? Is it unfair and unkind?
Okay, first of all, I won't say it's ignorant. Rather, I would say it's lack of awareness. You can say, personally, I won't say autism is a disease that needs to be cured. Like we all know, it's a disability that comes with a child, and how you handle it matters a lot. Even if you go from prayer house to prayer house, you're asking God for healing, heal my child, heal my child. What effort are you putting in to work with that child to get that child where you want that child to get to? Take, for instance, you find yourself having an autistic child and you sit home, you want that child to be able to speak, you want that child to be able to be well behaved, but you do nothing about it. You don't expect God to come down and heal that child for you. You have to put in an effort. You have to do the work. Training an autistic child is very challenging and demanding. But if you don't put in the effort, you won't get any results. So for me, I just believe it's lack of awareness, because if you take your time, success cases that have been recorded is as a result of the efforts that parents especially put into the development of that child. Take, for instance, you have a child that is non-verbal. You even get a speech therapist. There is a plan you have to follow. That child cannot start talking in a day. As a mom or as a parent, you feel, oh, this child, I know he has speech, I know he can say things, but you have to let him believe that he can say those things. You have to start from the basic. It might even take that child another 1 or 2 or even 5 years to even make one sentence. But it's the effort you put in that will help that child to grow. So that is what I can say. So even if you are praying, pray for God to give you wisdom, pray for God to give you patience, pray for God to give you the strength to be able to put that effort and work with that child, for that child to be able to overcome whatever challenges he or her is facing.
I just wanted to thank you very much. I like that perspective, that God should give wisdom and grace. I want to get the cultural aspect first out of it, the mindset that can hinder progress in autistic families. Another mindset is, so what's the point? What's the point? And the mother is overwhelmed. Well, she's moving into depression. What's the point?
First of all, if having an autistic child, any parent that have an autistic child know the challenges that come with it. There are days you are depressed. There are days you are overwhelmed. There are days you just want to give up. There are days you sleep, and when you wake up, you just wish you can continue sleeping, because you know what you're going to face. I believe every parent I've gone through. I don't think anybody can say anything that I've not done. If it's cry, I've cried. If it's prayed, I've prayed. I've done everything. But the moment you tell yourself, I have to work, I have to do the work, that is when you start dealing with those challenges. And the first thing is self-care. Love yourself enough to be able to love that child, to be able to drive yourself, to be able to put in the effort. See, it's not an easy journey. But look at it this way, that if you don't start the process, how will you even get there? How will you even achieve what you want to? There are days that is depressing. There are days you don't even want to think of it. There are days you ask yourself, why me? But if not you, who else? It's a challenge everybody face. So it's you sometimes you even feel you are the only one dealing with some certain behaviors, because like when the meltdown comes from that child, when the tantrum comes, because sometimes they tend to do things like they can even. I've had one time when my son was younger. He was playing with a toy and was looking at the screen. We just bought a new TV, I think a 50 something inches. They're brand new, like 2 weeks old. He was looking at the screen. The next thing, he just used the toy and threw it on the screen and cracked it. What will you do? And that was the end of the TV. There are days like that. You just feel like, oh my God, my world is just shattering right in front of me. But you pick it up and keep up, because if you don't handle it, who will? You can get all the therapists. They will come and they will go. That child will still be with you. So it's putting in that effort. That's what I can say.
You know, you're right about that. You know, you can, with your money, we can buy, you know, we can buy anything we want to buy. We can buy any service from any professional. At the end of the day, that baby is yours. That baby is mine. So is it because we failed? Is autism some sort of failure on the mother's part, on the father's part? Perhaps is this something we did wrong?
Not at all. I think scientifically, I don't think it has been proven the cause of autism. Some people will say it's hereditary, but I don't know how that's possible, because until I had a son with autism, I never knew what autism was. My son was the first autistic child I met, and I never had it in my family. My husband never had it in his family. Some people would say it's immunization, but that has not been proven either. A lot of factors. So I don't think anybody can actually say, oh, it's a sin I committed. I don't think that is the case. If it's a sin you committed, why would God bring a child into this world and say, oh, I'm paying you back for your sin? It doesn't make sense. So it's a situation where I don't think for autism parents, it just like we found ourselves having kids with special needs. And all we have to do is to love them and care for them the best we can.
Thank you. So what are the main symptoms? How did you find out that your son was autistic? Was it when he was a lot younger?
The funny thing was that he was my first son. So when he was before 1, he was actually talking and everything. Like he met all his milestones, like he was talking. Then all of a sudden we just saw this regression. Like he just regressed, like he stopped talking. I noticed he started arranging in piles. He wasn't responding. Like when you talk to him, he doesn't respond. He was just in his own world. But still, I didn't know what was going on. So like I'll complain, and my mother-in-law then, she was always with me. So she was like, no, he's the first child. Give it time. Most times some kids are slow and everything. Then I noticed he started working on his toes. And I'll be like, why is he working on his toes? And some people were like, maybe he's irritated, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But I didn't know what was going on. So there was a day I went for immunization in the hospital. And my doctor saw he was for the immunization was for him actually. So my doctor saw him and he was like, is this how your son has been working? I said, yes. So he asked me, have you checked him? I said, check for what? He said, I will advise you to go to a pediatrician and check him. So that was the first red flag for me. So I was like, okay. I think the next week I went to the health. I booked an appointment, saw a pediatrician, and the pediatrician asked me a bunch of questions. And when I answered, he was like, then he was not up to 3. So they were like, we cannot diagnose anything right now. So wait till it's 3. So I was like, diagnose what? So it was like, we might be suspecting autism, but we cannot diagnose now. So that was when I was like, what's that? They didn't want to say anything, so I went back, read about it. I was like, no, this not possible. You know, when you read about autism and you see a lot of things and you see some red flag that you've seen in your child, I'll be like, no, this is not me. I did at that time, I didn't want to just accept it when he was 3, but then I started like making effort. I was start monitoring him. I got a chat that talks about milestone. I was like, okay, met all this milestone, but at this stage he's supposed to be talking. At this stage he's supposed to be responding, but he's not. At this stage you're even supposed to send it like, okay, you can bring that stuff for me or bring this for me. He's supposed to be doing all that, but he wasn't. He was just in a world of his own. He was going to school and he was just by himself. So when he was 3, we went back and he was diagnosed of autism. And my words shattered. Like, I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like that was it for me, and that was a turning point for me. I was in denial for a while. I didn't want to believe it, but after a period of time, I told myself, if I don't handle it now, when will I? I remember when my son was 4, I was told by a doctor, like, there's a possibility he might not talk, that we should start teaching him sign language and all that. So that was when I told myself, this is not possible. This boy used to talk. This boy has made sound before. So I'll go back to the point when you asked, when you say some parents are like frustrated or like asking questions, questioning themselves. At that point, that was when I knew, like, okay, if I don't step in, then I will never achieve what I want. Then I started putting in effort, trying to create things, bringing resources together. I dedicated certain time for myself and him, and I work with him for those times. I had a schedule. Now with kids with autism, schedules are best to work with them, because once they are able to get into a schedule, things will work easier for you and for them. I started with having a schedule for him, and that was when we started growing. From there, I started teaching him. I got Queen Premier. I started teaching him the basics. I started put everywhere in my house. We'll have little letters all around. We started combining letters together. Now he's about 11. Though he cannot hold a conversation, but he can tell you what he wants. And this was a child I was told might never talk and should learn sign language. I told them bluntly, I'm not teaching him sign language. He has speech. He will talk. And that is the work. It wasn't a day's thing. This took years, a period of over 7 years. But I think we are winning. Every win is a win. I saw the progress in him. Potty training was not easy. That took years, but now he's potty trained. So it's the dedication and the time that you put in that I believe me, you always get a result.
I'm listening to you, and a part of me is like, God, I need grace. God, I need strength. Because some babies are talking at 18 months, and what you are describing is several years. And I suppose the miracle there is not giving up.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to say what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to speak. So once you speak, then we know what you want.
Yes.
And then what worries me with autism is when children harm themselves, they get frustrated and they're hitting their head on the wall, they are scratching their face. It brings tears, like, you wonder, it's just like a roller coaster of emotion. So I suppose it brings me to, how can mothers or families, how do we even cope? Because you're right, it's good days and bad days, and in those really, really bad days, it's really, really bad, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh God, I need some help here. What
See,
share with us some of your coping mechanisms? Yeah.
Well, some of those behaviors are sensory to most of most kids with autism. They're sensory to them. So, like for instance, a kid might be spinning and spinning and spinning and hit their body on the wall. A kid might like. I remember moving. My son then would bang his head, and because the floor, like in Canada, the houses are wooden. So when he bangs his head, he doesn't feel the effect he wants. He will run to the garage and bang his head on the garage. I am scared, but I think it's a sensory thing for him. But he doesn't know at that moment, he's not even feeling any pain, especially when he's upset. He's not feeling any pain. But we had to start teaching him like this behavior is not acceptable. This behavior, you can overcome it. Or how can you cope with not banging your head? That is when you have to bring in another behavior to substitute that. For instance, instead of banging your head, why not hit the table? Do you understand? Use your palm and hit the table. Don't bang your head. So when he's getting to that point, I put him down, and when he wants to hit his head, I'll bang the table, I'll smash the table, and he started doing that at a time. He will hit the table. He didn't like it. Sometimes he will run off and go to the garage and hit his head. But I'll bring him back. I'll say, no, don't hit your head. Hit the table. And we kept doing that. But now for the past over a year now, he has not gone anywhere to hit his head, because we have to replace that behavior with something more safe. So even if you're stopping a child from a behavior that is unsafe, look for something else to replace it, because if you're trying to stop it completely, it will not work. Any behavior you don't want, look for something else to replace that behavior. I'm talking about coping. For mothers on those bad days, the truth is that those days you don't see them coming. But however, there's a trigger. You will see the signs before he gets to that meltdown point. There's always a trigger. So it's for every parent to know the trigger for their kids. Okay, because for me, I know when my son has beginning to accumulate, and I'll be like, okay, he's getting to that point, then I find something to replace it for him not to get to that point. So it's for you to study your child and know the trigger, because it doesn't just come all at once. Something must have brought about it.
Thank you. So what we are dealing with here is a 2-year-old that likes white meals. He's very picky eater, very, very, very picky. But he's hungry. You try this, you try that.
For picky eaters, you will go around the food chain. But see, it's about trying different things, because there are days they might eat things you don't even expect. Another thing I would say is like, talk to your if you have a doctor, a family doctor, always talk to your doctor about things like that. Some kids might be some I've met a kid before, like he doesn't eat anything that you use with a spoon or a fork. He likes to pick his food. The parent had to create or implement other ways to make his food, so that it maybe in the way you have your fries, you can pick it, maybe a meatball and everything, because different kids with their own sensory their own sensitivity when it comes to food. The truth is that you can never, for picky eaters, you can never really know what they like, because at the end of the day you might feel, oh, this is his favorite, but after 2 or 3 days, or even after 1 month, he doesn't want to eat that food again. So you just keep trying. I'm not a professional when it comes to that, but you can always talk to a professional. But for me as a mom, I know my son is a picky eater, but I keep trying everything. You need to see my kitchen. I try everything. Today is eating this, tomorrow is eating that. But what I've noticed that he likes things that he can swallow easily. So with that, that's a win for me. Most time, even oats, I can blend oats and turn it to swallow, just to make him eat something. That's just for you to know what they like. And if you're able to get like 5 or 6 food, make sure they have all the nutrients, and just do it in different form, make it in different form so that they can eat it.
Mm. On your Instagram page, you say it takes a child with autism to increase the village's awareness.
Yeah.
How can the village help?
Um, that is the thing because I'll say from my own experience, like people I've met back in the days, I just believe it's lack of awareness that makes them feel, oh, this child is spoiled. This mother doesn't take care of this child. This mother is this mother is that, or this parent is this parent is that. It just to we as parents or any parent that have kids with autism, when we see people like that, we should learn to understand. Like most of us never knew about autism till we have until we had autistic kids. So it's sent for everybody that criticizes you. So for me, I believe it's talking to people, creating the awareness. Like you have a good platform here. This is creating awareness. I don't know how many people are listening right now, but this is creating awareness for everybody. I opened an Instagram page for my son just to create the awareness. There are good and bad days. I will share it. There is every day is not rosy. It's just to create the awareness. I've seen people call me. I don't even know them before, and they'll be like, "Oh, are you this? Are you this person? I heard this is this. Can you enlighten me more?" And I provide that services for free. It's just to let people know it's not an easy thing to do. Talking about autism and from your own point of view, how you've been able to come this long and how you've been able to. I'm not saying it's not something you overcome. It's something you live with. How you're able to live with it. So I just believe is when I created that write up, it was more of the support I've gotten so far as a result of me talking to people about it. That's why that write up came about. Like the way they would say it takes a village to raise a child. When you've met one autistic child, you've met just one autistic child. Every autistic child is different because, like I said, it's a spectrum.
Mm. I want you to reflect on when you look back now, what sort of support would you have appreciated from your family and friends in those early days that you did not get, or that maybe you got and you perhaps even want more of it?
I think for me, it's more of patience and understanding. The truth is that with an autistic child, the patience a parent will have, no other person can have that. No other person. So it's more of that patience and understanding with the child because you can only try your best as maybe a relative and if or a friend or anything. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I used to drop my kid with some friends back home, and I will call like every 30 minutes, and they'll be like, "Oh, he's fine, but when are you coming?" Because it's not easy. Um, taking my if I think I still do that. Like if you don't know my kid personally, I would not bring my kid to your house because I don't know the behavior. It might exhibit at that point. It might just he might see a fish tank or something breakable and he might get irritated or like that might not sit well with him and he will push it and break it. How do I start explaining? Like, if I don't have that relationship with you, I can't put my child in that circle.
Hmm.
That's that's me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, on your Instagram page, Autism Honest, we see him playing in the sun. That's your David. We see him sitting on a bus,
Yeah.
sitting nicely. We see him in a food court. I mean, I have to say, given my own short experience with raising a kid with autism, like you, it looks incredibly well stabilized and it looks extremely well adjusted. And
I will tell you a story.
mm,
Um, before, not until about 20, I think 2019, Yeah, about 2018, 2017, 2018. Up until then, I didn't used to take my son out because of the fear of, oh my God, he will destroy this, he would throw tantrum, he would push someone, he will hit someone. And because it was a big challenge, then if we take him to the mall, he will push down everything in the aisle. If we take it to the mall and he doesn't see because like anywhere we go to, the first thing I do is to show him the washroom. But if we're in the mall to just pick something up, if he doesn't see the washroom or this, he might go to the corner. He has done that in Walmart. He went to the corner and wanted to pee. I had to hold him and drag him to the washroom. So it was, and there were days we'll take him to the mall. He will have a meltdown. He will scream the mall, and you see other kids scared and all that. And for a while, I think for a period of like 4 years, we didn't take him out to the public, like to the mall or maybe a social gathering. Then I sat down one day and I was like, okay, this child is growing. He's going to be a teenager someday. He's going to be an adult someday. And I can't keep on restricting him to stay home all the time. How do I overcome this barrier? And what I did was like, okay, first of all, I'm going to start teaching him how to behave in the public. That was where we started our journey. Then what I did was like every weekend, we'll walk from the home to the bus stop. He's not good at waiting, but my neighbors then knew us because they would see me chasing him to come back to the bench to sit, because he's very terrible at waiting. He doesn't want to wait. He doesn't have the patience for that. That was where we started teaching him to sit on the bench till the bus come. The first two times, I did not get him in the bus. We sat there, the bus came. He wanted to get in, but I told him to sit down because I wanted him to be eager. So that I wanted him to be well behaved when he gets into the bus. He didn't get into the bus that he was so upset and there was tantrum and everything. We went back home. The second time we did the same thing. The third time when we got to the bus, he was the one sitting and waiting. So I was like, okay, you're ready to get on the bus. And the first day we got to the bus, it was good. We went on the bus. We got to the shopping mall. And guess what? I didn't let him get into the shopping mall because I was scared. But I made him walk around the mall. Like we just walked in front and we went back. Why I did that was like for him to have the sense of being in public, behaving in public. I think it took about the fourth time before I let him get into the mall. And most times with autistic kids, you think they don't hear you or they are not listening. They are, but they will interpret it in their own way. Most times they do things just to see your reaction. And when we got into the mall, we picked something. And he wanted to walk further. And I said, no, let's go back. And there was a meltdown. But it took me about 5 times to understand my own kid. Like, instead of us going back, we have to go round and come out. So with him, it's forward ever. You can't go back. So if we go to a mall, if we miss any shop, I can't go back to that shop. I have to go round. Like I said, it took me a while to understand him. Now we go grocery shopping together. We can stay in the mall for about 2-3 hours. But then I could not do that. That's when I say understand your child, and every process you take, don't expect a win immediately, and celebrate every win as you can, as best as you can. But it took me years to get to that point with him, to be able to understand, like, okay, this is the way he will react to this particular scenario. So when we go to the mall, if we miss anything, we don't turn back. We go around and come back to that part. Even if it's an aisle in the shop, we'll go around and I'll be like, okay, let's go around and come back. Then we'll pick it up. And that was how we continued. And that was why I was like, okay, this is worth celebrating, because it took years to get to this point.
I've got 2 questions here and then we'll begin to round up. Thank you so very much for your openness and honesty dealing with this, sharing your experience and enlightening us. I know we are not there yet, but for some of us with toddlers right now, we're on the spectrum, we'll get there. So it's nice to know that what we need to do is we can pay attention and modify
Yeah.
certain behavior. But
Yeah,
we,
I would say with toddlers, that was for me. I think because of the fact, like, growing in my home country, Nigeria, because we didn't have a lot of resources. I think a lot of things was missed in between some period of years. Now with toddlers, they always say with autism, early intervention is always the best, and which is true. So having a toddler with autism, your best bet is to have a schedule. And once they're able to fall in that schedule, they know their routine. You don't need to teach them their routine. It's not easy getting them into the routine. Don't rush it. Like for instance, have a morning routine, have an afternoon routine, have an evening routine. When you start working with that, you are helping that child structure its own path or our own path, and it works. Routine works like magic. Even if it's three goals you set as a routine in the morning, like okay, wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is brush your teeth, take your bath, eat breakfast. If they have that, they have that. Like when I started my own personal experience, when I started working with routine with my son, I noticed that if he wakes up in the morning, when he got used to the routine, if you change the routine, like maybe weekend, I'll be like, oh, it's weekend, let's not have her. Let's just brush and go and eat. I've messed up his routine. And sometimes I see behaviors. And I'll be like, what changed? Oh, he didn't take his bath before eating. So once they have a structure, they work best when they have a structure. So with toddlers, like if your child is 3, if your child is 4, have a routine. That you'll be surprised on how well they will do. And another thing is when you're talking to them, let everybody speak the same language. If you are calling something, for instance, if you're wearing a pants and maybe you're used to calling it trouser, call it a trouser. Let that child know it's trouser. Everybody that works with him or around him, let them know it's called a trouser. Don't call it a pants because he would not understand. You are messing up everything. So everybody should be on the same. You should be on the same level of communication with that kid. It will help that kid a lot.
like, I've got to ask this as an African parent, or maybe a Nigerian parent. Some parents would argue that you can modify behavior with a stick. Would how effective or not effective is that with an autistic child, or with threats? Maybe a deep voice or a spank or go to your room or they lock the kid up. It's not something I've tried. I'm just asking.
You're wasting your time. It's a waste of time. Even we, when we were growing up with all the spanking and everything, we still went behind and we did whatever we wanted to do. Less of an autistic child. That child will cry. But that child will still do what they have to do. They will still, so with beating an autistic child, you are just punishing yourself and that child for no reason. It doesn't work. You only create fear. And when you create fear in children, they will never achieve what you want them to achieve. It just creates fear. And that child sees you, that child is withdrawn. That child wouldn't want to learn, especially when it comes to autistic children. Once they have that detachment, it's difficult to bring them back in. So, like I said, sometimes behaviors can be frustrating, behaviors can be overwhelmed, but they are not seeing it from your own point of view. I had a friend that was complaining that the child would bring down all the breakable plates, and the child enjoyed just bringing it out of the shelf and dropping it, bringing it out of the shelf and dropping it. And I told her like it's sensory for him. How can you replace this behavior? Because he will continue doing it until you replace the behavior. But for the mom, that child is destructive. But for the child, it's sensory.
I mean, thank you so Thank you so very much. I want us before we let you go. This has been so very helpful for me. Is to where can mothers and fathers get relief? Are there groups, places where they can calm down and say, honest to God, I don't understand this child. Even me, I don't understand myself. How much more a child? I think it takes exceptionalism, some sort of deep maturity to be able to forget our shortcomings as parents, because we are damaged people anyhow. And God is asking us to raise to raise an autistic child, it is a heck of a lot, parents. So where can parents, it's a heck of a but where can we go to get support, to get that relief, that safe community for us?
See, there are a lot of, if for most parents that live in Calgary or Canada, I won't say everybody here lives in Canada. There are a lot of support group on Facebook. Then for those that live in Calgary, there's um, there's this moms group organized by Autism Calgary. It's a fantastic group. Also, there's this WhatsApp group we also created just for moms with special need group. Like if anybody wants to join, I think they can contact you and we can add them to the group. It's just to come, and even if you want to rant, come and rant. Just pour out your heart. And for most parents that do not have access to groups and they just feel, okay, please, I need a break. You can just take time off, like even if get somebody to watch this kid for like 1 or 2 hours, take yourself to the spa, just go somewhere and go to the movies and just take care of yourself for a few hours. Like then when I came to Canada, I didn't have anybody. I came here not knowing anybody apart from one friend I used to chat with once in a while. Then when I'm overwhelmed, believe you me, I will take a day off work. And the first thing I will plan that day, and because I will plan it on the day that my kid is going to school. I'll just take that day off work. I'll go to the movies. I'll go to the spa. I just see myself being happy on those days because, like, I feel like, oh, I have a time for myself and everything. Just take, even if in a month, just dedicate some time to say, okay, even if it's once in a month, I'll take 5 hours and take care of myself, take care of me, because you need that self-care. Mental health issues are real. You don't want to be depressed, because if you are depressed, believe me, you will not be able to look at that child because you are dealing with a lot. So self-care is really important. Talk to somebody. Call somebody that knows your child, that knows what you are going. Just rant and tell the person, see, I'm just calling you to rant, I'm fine. And drop the phone.
So, in those instances, as family, what should your response be? If someone is calling you to rant about the autistic child, how can you console them at that minute or in that moment? What do you say? Do you say God will do it? What's I don't know.
Most times somebody might call you. Like I know my sister used to have like a bombshell from me every time I'm at that point. I'll just call her and I'll talk and talk and talk, and the next thing I'll just say, sorry, I'm calling you, and I don't just know who to talk to. I just feel like expressing myself. Most times she will laugh and she will ask me, are you okay now? Are you fine now? I'll be like, if I want to continue, she will just change the topic and maybe say something funny, and I will laugh. But never a day has she told me like, oh, God will do it, God will this, God will do this, or God will do that for you and everything. Because we pray, we do things on our own, but sometimes you just want to hear something different. You just want somebody to like distract you sometimes. So even if somebody should call you and you know the person's situation with an autistic child, so just say something to just put a smile, something to just tell a joke. If the person is your childhood friend, just say something silly that might make the person laugh. And I believe the person will just feel that sense of relief. Because most times when we are at that point, sometimes our faith is wavering. And when you tell somebody, oh, God will do it, God will bless you, and the person might reply, oh, have I not been praying to the same God? At that point, really, believe me, the person doesn't want to hear that. The person just wants that total distraction, that thing that would just like reflect on and maybe laugh, and another conversation might even start from there. You're on mute.
Oopsie, sorry. When people reflect around God and around faith, do you often, actually, let me rephrase the question. How is one able to have faith in God that allows for autism in children?
See, your faith and your belief in God is thank God for where you are. Because I know I always say this, like when I'm like, oh, I'm getting to that point, I've done it, and I hear that voice like, oh, God cannot give you what you cannot handle. And I'll be like, no, I can't handle this. So God has given me what I cannot handle. And I'll be like, okay, if I don't know if any autistic, if anybody with any parent with autistic child is listening, but I believe after knowing you have a child with autism, if you reflect back on yourself and your life, you will see how strong you are because you now know how much effort there are things you think you will not be able to do, you will do it. The kind of dedication you are showing, you even ask yourself, am I the one doing this right now? Because that is the only drive. And when you pray, well, we pray for healing. Yes, everybody wants their child to be perfect. Everybody wants their child to be great. But do you pray do you pray? Do you pray for grace? Do you pray for strength? Do you pray for dedication? Because to work with an autistic child, you need those things. You need your strength. You need dedication. You need to devote time. You will go to work and you will come back. See, every parent with an autistic child work 24 hours of the day. Because as you are leaving the office, the child is closing from school, the child is at home. As you are coming back, there's another work waiting for you. So when you pray, those are the things you pray for. You pray for strength. You pray for grace. You pray not to relent because there are days where you find yourself like, oh my God, I want to give up. I said, I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. What do I do? But you have to love yourself first so that you can transform that love to that child.
Mm, mm, mm. Edora, I hear you, and that was deep. I want to say thank you very much for keeping it real with us tonight. Thank you
Thank you for having me.
for joining us to shed enlightenment on what, as villagers, we all need to do to support community members who have autistic children, what we need to do to support ourselves, and how mindset is important. You said we should take time out to go to the spa, to go to to do things ourselves. A happy mother would raise a happy child. A balanced mom will raise a balanced child. And I know the difficulties and the challenges raising a non-verbal autistic child is not easy, but it's also not impossible because there you are, look at you doing it successfully. And I look at your son on Instagram, this is one happy boy, and I know we don't have all the answers, but in this moment, we know that His grace is sufficient for us. I want to say a big thank you. I'm wondering if we can invite you again. I'm sure this will lead to a lot of questions and I'm going to get inundated. And as I'm getting the question, maybe I'll send to you. So if not February, maybe March, we can do, because we can have another show, because I know especially in Black communities we don't talk about autism. It's one of those things we hide, like we only want to show when things are successful, and we don't want to show autism. I know that.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't want to be associated with things that we think are beneath us, but God brings autistic children to our lives for a reason.
Yeah.
For a reason. It's for a reason. I think they are angels of our generation, the angels of our times. If you're looking for an angel, look at your autistic child. So I want to say thank you on a Saturday night for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.
We will keep in touch, and once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Adore. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Adore helping us to have the right perspective when it comes to raising an autistic child. And what we tried to do was to raise awareness, about parenting an autistic child. We're going to take a small break now. When we come back, we'll be talking mental health with Odian Welch. Don't go away. This is Big Conversations. Hello, welcome to Oh, hello, welcome back to Big Conversations with your host, with your girl Tee Adeyemo. What a night. My goodness. What a night. I want to say thank you to those of you who've stayed on from 6:30 p.m. up until now. We have two more shows or two more guests who are coming up, but maybe just one more because it's late and I probably should have started at about 5:45 or 5:30. But next time we'll do just that. Without much ado, if you are just joining us, we ask that you like and subscribe to our content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ladies Corner Canada. Like and share. Tonight we've outdone ourselves really. We've had Mrs. Adedeji Damnola Adedeji Brown Beauty brownskincare-store.com, talk about skin, talk about hair. We've had Taya and Dotundu talk about your money. And then we had Adora talk about autism, parenting, raising an autistic child, the challenges, what you can do for your mental health. There's still hope. And the prayer is not God, it's not why me, question is why not, and we need to ask for grace, strength, empowerment. Help me to do right by this kid. Next up is Odion Welch, and we're doing mental health. We hope you stay till the end. It's actually an amazing conversation that I had last week, and we've not shared it anywhere. We're going to be releasing it or playing it here for the first time. And then tomorrow, hopefully, it will be live on our YouTube page. So thank you. This is Big Conversations, a monthly magazine show where we talk about everything. What a show tonight. What a show. Adeyemo. And Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. I genuinely hope the year works out for you. I hope it works out for me. And the first question is, what are your plans for 2023? Do you still have hopes? Have you fallen off the 2023 resolution bus yet? Are you still on track? And to join us to have a constructive conversation around faith, healing, New Year resolutions, and everything new about 2023 is Odion Welch. She is a mental health activist and an author, and she's going to help us get our mindset right for 2023. Amongst the many hats she wears, she's also a columnist with LCCMedia. She joins us right now to talk about hoping for 2023. Good evening, Odion. Thanks for joining us.
Evening to you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I love your background. Is like sparkling.
It's my Christmas lights that, I probably had to use a positive affirmation with them because I tried so hard to get them up. They weren't. If you look closely, they kind of droop and
droop. That's familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took so much effort to get them up that they're just part of the aesthetic now.
I mean, not just with you. My daughter's room, our decorations are slanted like that because we try, even though I think I'm tall, but
Oh yeah, you get a real reality check. You're on the step ladder, you're trying to hammer, you're using the tape.
I can't quite do it, so it ends up just like yours. So your Christmas decorations it feels familiar. So how was your New Year?
I actually stay in for New Year's.
Okay.
So it was quite relaxing. It was a little bit stressful because I had some errands to do, and of course those all went to the last minute. But probably a decade ago, I started staying in because New Year's is so. I don't know if there's so much pressure to go out, go here, go there. It's 3 times the price. You can't get a cab. It's cold, and it just felt like somehow there was always a kerfuffle at the end of the night and someone was mad at somebody. And so I just stayed home one New Year's and it was the best thing ever. So I stayed home.
I find there's no difference in whether or not you go to church or you stay home. Is you the day will transition wherever you go. So yeah. I agree with you. And the year remains the same wherever you go. You go church, you stay home, you go club. I feel it has no bearing on the year,
I
personally.
think it's your brain. Like in a lot of ways, like there are things like we look at the New Year's so cyclical in the sense of like a season. So it's kind of like a way to start off like the new season and restart and take time to like have intention. Because we live in a world where we're never encouraged to have time for intention.
Yeah, that's true. Just go.
Yeah. And so I think, but you have to take that intention very mindfully in the sense of not just today it's happening. So that's why, like with New Year's, I'm like at home, I clean tasks, I get rid of those things that were bugging me all year, like any craft projects. And then I either wake up on New Year's Day and I go to the gym or I go for brunch with my granddad.
Okay.
And that way it's like, okay, I'm just going to start off calm and like also let go of that hustle and bustle of Christmas. Like, I don't know about you, T, but Christmas has my shoulders up here by the time it's done.
I was bleeding. I'm still trying to recover from Christmas.
Right?
Like, what I get myself into? I can't tell anybody. I'm like, oh God, who asked you, T? Who asked you?
Right? There's so much pressure.
Silently.
Yeah, this year it was like all the people you couldn't see the last 2 years wanted to see you. And then as women, we've got the cooking and the cleaning and the gift giving.
Oh yeah, that's expensive, Pete. When you feel you have to give a gift. Is it going to be a good year, 2023? What is your sense about the year ahead?
I'm excited for this year.
Oh, you are? Why?
I am. I think, and I hope that we're going to take all that we've really learned in the last couple of years, because we kind of got like a harsh reality check the last couple of years with the pandemic, and take that into 2023 to be really mindful of those things that brought us the most amount of joy the last couple of years and taking them forward. Like we could go and be all doom and gloom and 2023 is going to suck and the politicians are all mad at each other and the economy is this, but there's so much opportunity going into 2023. And I feel like we're all a little bit wiser now. And we're a little bit, I know I keep saying like intentful and mindful, but we have so much more intent. Like me and you talk about church, and there's people who I see making like a better effort to go at church because they missed it during the pandemic. And there's people who, you know, maybe realize the instability of their job, but they always knew they didn't like their job. And there's people I know now who are going back to school or looking into new careers or advancing themselves that way. And there's people who are taking care of their health. So for me, when I look at 2023, I'm really like hopeful of where we're going to go because we now have so much knowledge. It was like that adage about the bow and arrow. You know how you have to like pull the arrow back to go forward?
Yeah.
And I feel like 2023 is going to be the year that we all go forward.
Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Amen.
Right? Like, what about you? What are you excited about for 2023?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I have my fears. That's why you're on, to talk us through.
But fears are okay.
To help us even get this thing started, because when I look at 2022, there were still so many things I wanted to do I wasn't able to do, and I feel like I should go back into 2022 into some of the days there, you know. Okay, I think I could have been more productive in this slot or here, but then, you know, so I'm sure there's still people out there who are hung up on 2022. Maybe someone broke their heart. Maybe they made a bad business, or they got a car they shouldn't have got, or, you know, they got a house and their house burnt down. So they're still in 2022. What would you say to those sort of people experiencing extreme pain right now at the start of 2023? All it is, their trauma is based in 2022, and they're here. We're here. You know, how do you even get past the trauma?
Well, one, we have to stop thinking that we just get past it.
Past the trauma.
Like, if you hang on. Sorry, did I cut you off? T, I don't know where you went.
No, I'm sorry. I was checking the audio.
Oh, okay. It did something weird on my side, and I was like,
Sorry
"Did I
about
lose
that.
you?"
I was just checking the audio. I didn't realize the volume was
That's okay.
loud. I beg your pardon.
I am loud though, so that's okay.
It wasn't about you.
Well, you know, in 2022, tech issues existed and they still exist, right? We're like,
Yes.
did we break that? Did you mute yourself? And I think we have to accept that like our trauma, it doesn't go anywhere, right? And I get like in some ways nobody wants to hear that, but all we can do is get better with it. But we have this expectation, and I blame social media for it as much as I like it, but like, okay, so it's a new year, and because it's a new year, I shouldn't be sad, and I shouldn't have any of this anymore, and I shouldn't have any of that anymore. But those things make us who we are, right? And it's that age-old adage of 5 years from now or 10 years from now, when you go like, oh, wow, that negative experience really helped project me into this experience.
Right.
And hang on, I've been writing it down. So I'm like a paper Post-it. All the climate change activists are going to come to me because I definitely am like still a paper person. But
girl, that's the way forward.
Right? I'm the person, okay, I wrote it down. When I'm done, recycle it. And there's this quote that I've been writing. So on every new page of paper, I've been writing it this year because it's been really resonating with me. And it's, I wish I would have done that differently. And at the time I couldn't. And that's okay. And I had heard it. I was listening to something. They were talking about, we get so mad at ourselves, like how you were saying, oh, I could have been more productive with that day. And we get harped up and we bring ourselves this shame, and we bring ourselves this guilt that, oh, I didn't do better. But like now we know better, so we can do better. And we're human. Like it's the grace of God that loves us and fills us. And it's that grace we have to give ourselves when we kind of fall off the wagon. Before the show started today, I told you my church is fasting this week, and I didn't fast today. And I knew it was coming. And then I was like, oh, wait, I was supposed to be fasting today.
No, but it takes a while to get into the fasting routine, you know.
But why?
That's
See, you know how you just gave me that grace?
Yeah.
Why don't you give yourself the same grace? Right? Like we're so quick to let everybody else have these things.
I hear
and
what you're saying.
But when it comes to ourselves, we're like, oh, we're a failure. Oh, we did this, instead of being like, I'm human. We have so many obligations. There's so many things out of our control. Like I love the therapy thing about the circle of control. And all we can do is our best. Like, did you say you did your best?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2, if anyone feels like reading in 2023, there's a book called The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. And pretty much one is like, your best looks different every day. So 100% today might look like 80% tomorrow, and then 300% the day after. Mm-hmm. But are you coming and giving it what you can? And are you accepting that's what you gave for the day?
I think the question really is understanding that that you need to find hope every day. I think, you know, because many times our bodies are worn. You want a castle, for example, now, not realizing you need maybe to work and take little steps to get to that castle or whatever it is you want. And then you have to get out of bed. You have to put the work in. And I think maybe what some people lack or what some people need is that daily affirmation, that daily hope, that daily courage, maybe even to see the castle before you actually get there. To know, if I take all these steps, at some point, definitely my future, this castle is there. Just have to make it there. Do you think that's what we're lacking as a people? That commitment to hope, that rugged belief in the fact that life may get better, things may get better, it will get better, whatever that it means.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to say we lack it, but there's this like happiness concept that, we're supposed to be happy all the time. And we don't allow space for our emotions. Like Edmonton weather is the best example of it. There can be 8 seasons in one day. Right? Like you can start off eating your parka and then you're in a t-shirt at the end and it's rained and it snowed and maybe the grass grew.
That's right.
Right? And we'll accept it. We say it's nature. And then in ourselves, there's seasons where everything's flourishing and there's seasons where everything's falling apart. And sometimes those seasons are all in one day. Right? And it's like navigating that and moving through that. And also like celebrating. We get so caught up on like when you say these steps, right? Like the castle. I know as much as I want a castle and a big house, I am not ready for a big house. I can't keep my apartment clean some days. Like, so as much as I want all that space, I'm not ready for that space. Right? And so all I can do is the things to work on myself every day, but not to know they're there. This is going to sound weird, but to not be so worried about checking off the boxes, because then it can get daunting. Like, let's say I'm using the castle as an example. Let's say I know I want a castle. Okay, well then I got to make 6 figures a year. I got to be saving this much thing. I got to do this. I got to work this many hours. Check off the box, check off the box. And then COVID hits and I'm sick for 2 weeks. And now I'm behind. Right? And so we get the box, instead of saying, hey, you know what? Like, I didn't save up my $10,000 this year, but I saved up $1,000, and that was more than I saved up the year before. Right? Or I put $1 away today. That's okay. Or maybe I didn't put $1 away, but I made my coffee at home. Right? Like we get so caught up on not doing it perfectly and not doing it like, oh, well, Susan next door cooked all of her kids' meals from scratch. Susan from door probably called chef's plate. Like it's a process, and to like, as much as it's a process, we have to take ownership on our systems that we put in place. Like, so for example, I know I always come off as happy, but I definitely have days where I am really grumpy. Like my brother will call it my Shaquita mode, because we grew up watching Who's the Father on Maury Povich. And although now looking back, you're like, that show was very wrong, there was always somebody named Shaquita who was like angry and throwing things. And so growing up, he'd say, oh, Shaquita's out. And that's just our thing now. And we do this, and it's like you're raging. Like I know, for example, on Friday, I was so mad about a few things, and then I was this and that, and rah, and I was snapping, and I just couldn't. There was all these things, right? But for myself, I have it in place so that when I brush my teeth before I go to bed, I listen to this gratitude meditation. So it's about 10 minutes, and that's about how long my bedtime routine is once I like wash my face, brush my teeth. And I just put it on. Sometimes I'm not even listening to it. Sometimes it's this. And I know I was in such a mood tea. So I'm brushing my teeth like, don't even think I'm listening to the gratitude. But then when I got into my bed, it kind of like hit me. And I was like laying there too, like, oh, I'm not even praying tonight. I'm so mad. But in that moment of those routines, it reminded me like, okay, actually there was some really good moments that had happened today. Right? And even like with our physical health, because that affects our emotional health so much. And, all these New Year's resolutions come on. And if you go to the gym, everyone's going to be at the gym the next 2 weeks. And then we get mad at ourselves that we didn't stick to it, but we did it the way everybody else was doing it. So, I'll give you another example. I've been off my workout game for a hot minute. I am on my eat cake whenever I can game. And but it's affecting me. It's affecting my energy. It's affecting so many things in my life. And I was like trying to go to the gym and get in my routine, and maybe I'd make it there, but then I wouldn't really do anything when I was there. And so I needed something that was going to hold me accountable. So I went and I found like a workout studio that I liked. I went and tried a few out and then set it up in a way where I'm accountable to myself now. And so today at 4:00, I went to this like burning butts and abs class. That's pure torture. But I went and I paid for it in advance. I paid for it in December because I was like, if I pay for this, my butt will go. And I at first had every negative intention about it. I was like, that's going to cost money I don't have right now. Oh, that's going to be driving. And I found a studio close to me to get rid of excuses because it's only 10 minutes from me. But like the first week I signed up, there was a snowstorm. And then there's a stupid snowstorm. Oh, I'm going to be sweaty. Oh, my hair is going to be this afterwards. And like I had all the reasons, but for myself with those negative reasons, I had to look at it too. Like I've been gaining some weight, and for all the ladies listening to this, the men might not get it as much, but every time I gain a few extra pounds, I either got to go buy a new Spanx so I can get into the clothes I already own, or I got to buy a new pair of pants to get into work. And so I had to have a conversation with myself. Like, okay, either I keep enabling my weight gain and buying more clothes, but not paying for this gym class that's going to get me back into my groove. Or I go and I keep buying the Spanx and the pants and the this and the that. And so to get to the point where we're positive about the things that we want to do, it doesn't just happen. Like it is a process of this sucks. And then today I like the trainer of this course, like this burning butts abs class. I like this trainer. And so I want to see her. So I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm ready. And then 5 minutes in, I'm like, I hate you. But she knows. I'm like, and I was honest with her. I said, I went from being able to do triathlons and now I feel like I can't get out of bed. I'm going to be slow. I need modifications. And she works with me. So that very long story is to say that it's not easy, but we have to set ourselves a system in place. So now I'm stuck going every day, or my Spanx are going to cost me double because I pre the class, right?
I hear what you're saying. So what I'm going to ask you as a final question, I think, is could you give us steps to practical things we can put in place? One, to believe in tomorrow and to get ready mentally for 2023. And I ask this question, and here's my background. You go to these services where they say it's going to be a great year. But the nature of life, bad things will happen. Nature of life, someone will die in 2023. Nature of life, people get sick this year. Mm-hmm. Nature of life, there will be car accidents, and then we can't realistically wish it all away. I think maybe the better mindset is, okay, if it happens, when it happens, am I going to be ready to deal with it? I think thinking that way frees me up. It makes me be more realistic than to say, I've been to church, I've prayed it all away. It's not likely to. Do you see the difference? So you give us steps that we can realistically be on top, be alive where we are, than delirious somewhere else, like, oh, it's not going to happen. And when life happens, you just crumble and you fall.
I love how you said accept it though, right? Because once we know it's going to happen, right? But we want to go and put the rose-colored glasses on and then be like, nothing bad's going to happen. But the bad can't happen without the good, right? And hang on, I don't know if we have enough time, but there's a really good Chinese proverb, but it takes a minute to share before I give technical steps.
Go for it, sis.
Okay. So when I was in China, we went to this one temple, and it kind of reminded me of if the Leaning Tower of Pisa was in China. And so at the end of the year, the farmers go and there's 500 steps. And you have to walk up each step and you have to say something crappy that happened in the year. And then when you walk back down, you have to say something good that happened in the year. And at every step. And you can't take the next step until you say something. And then at the end of it, you're supposed to reflect on this like proverb story and and there's a few versions of it now. It was funny. Once I heard it in China, I heard it in Canada, but there go back in time to like the movie Mulan, and there's a farmer. He has a son and he has a farm, and he farms horses, and his horse runs away. The neighbor comes over and goes, "Oh, you have such bad luck. Your horse ran away." The farmer looks at him and goes, "It is what it is." Few weeks pass, the horse comes back, and it brings a whole troop of wild horses. Neighbor comes running out. "Oh, such good luck you have." Farmer goes, "It is what it is." So his son is now trying to tame the horses, whatever you do to horses, and he falls off the horse and he breaks his arm or his leg or whatever. Neighbor comes out. We all have that one neighbor, right? Neighbor comes out. "Oh, such bad luck." And farmer goes, "Is what it is." And then the army comes to recruit his son, and they can't recruit the farmer. He's too old. They go for his son. They see that his son's broken. They say, "Well, we don't need your son. He's no good." And his son doesn't have to go to war. Neighbor comes out. "Such good luck you have." And he goes, "It is what it is." And so this story continues, right? That's the point where it always ends, because we want to control and we want to label something as good or bad. And it is just what it is, right? And it's life. And so you say, what are these tangible things? Well, the tangible things that set us up for success, that we can navigate and accept what happens, don't just turn on like the Christmas lights. It's a process. And until we accept it's a process, it doesn't matter what we put in place, right? So, and we accept that the processes that we put in place are going to not be perfect some days. So I really like gratitude meditations. And like, for those who don't like meditating, you don't have to sit there, right? And you can listen to the ones and follow along. You can do it while you drive. Listen to 5 minutes of it. Do it in the morning. Do it before you go to bed. And I've been doing those now for about 3 years, and it's made a huge difference for myself. I can catch myself having a moment and being like, "Oh, this air is really crisp today. I'm grateful that I can feel it breathing." But a few years ago, the crisp air, I'd be like, "Oh, this crisp air is going to give me pneumonia." So that is a big one. Looking at our supports, like, who do we call when we have news? Like, are we intentful? Do we call the person who's our habit and then reminds us that it might not be good news? Or do we go to the person who's excited for us and is like, "What do you need from me? This is great. You can do it." Even like, so just committing to something. I know I love that I can talk about church with you. And so I will sign up for something at the church at the beginning of the year to either like volunteer or meet new friends in the church or that kind of thing. And it gives us something to look forward to when we have that sense of community, right? Like, when everything's going wrong and the car's not starting and this and that, but we know on Thursdays we're going to see you, Elsa. It's like, yes, right? And we have that, "Hey, Elsa, my car broke down, but I really wanted to come see you today." Elsa's going to come pick you up, right? And so it's creating those systems that give us hope, but plant the seeds of hope. So whether it's, maybe it's not signing up to the gym, maybe it's signing up to a Zumba class, or I really like Chiral on Instagram. She has Soka Fit in Edmonton. Sign up for her Soka Fit class. So when everything's falling apart, you know that on Tuesdays at 6, you can go and that's your moment for you, the moment the world stops spinning, right? Because it's easier to do that when we have those little wins or joys, right? And so let's say right now you don't like being at work, right? And you know you're going to get a new job in 2023, but for right now, you're stuck going there every day. What's something you can put in your office where when you look at it, you're just going to feel good? So for myself, I love mugs. One of my mugs when I'm tired is my little chip mug because I like Beauty and the Beast. And I just think, oh, you know, and then it's that little pick me up, right? Or one of my best friends, she got me a bunch of pens with inappropriate sayings on them. I'm so glad it's clear. Gee, I'm not. Most of the things we think aren't all right. And don't get me wrong, there are big things that are out of our control. Like there's wars and this and that. But, you know, how many times are we so frustrated and mad because we don't have a new car, but our car's still running? Even, or, you know, we're so mad that our car didn't start because we forgot to plug it in, but we had AMA. So then AMA came.
And then what
there's a lot of international ended up at this bug museum. Yeah. And I hate bugs. But there was a pregnant scorpion. You know, will you close up in the mustard seed? I'm going to say, I hope that nobody says that's just not who I am in 2023 and try something new. And sees where that takes them. Right? Because like, I know I use the example of Zumba. Zumba's not really my thing. I kind of just go with my friends because they like Zumba. But I've tried it. And I know a dancing work class isn't for me because I've tried it.
All right.
But we're so quick to say that or.
Hey guys, I'm afraid that's all we have time for on this month's edition of Big Conversations. We hope you join us next month, the third Saturday in February, for February's edition of Big Conversations. Thank you again. Good night.